Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon to wherever you may be in the world, and welcome along to another Creator Series race weekend where we've got a very special event for you here today indeed. Today is the Legends Across the Licenses, 4 motor parks, 2 different types of cars, and I'm sure the same old carnage that we're used to here on a Thursday night. My name's Tom Knight, and I'll be taking you through all of the action here this evening, and alongside me, as usual, taking up his resident spot is the wonderful John Harris. John, how are you doing?
Doing well. I'm looking forward to this one. Very different format, and I'm sure that will catch the drivers off guard. So I'm going to sit here with my popcorn ready to go.
Absolutely. We've got 4 tracks tonight for our drivers to try and work their way around. Some more complex than the others in probably more ways than one, and we will come to those in the next few moments. There are 2 cars that our drivers will be driving here this afternoon. First is the normal Road Legends car. The second, well, if it wasn't really obvious from the title, is the Dirt Legends car, equipped for slightly more off-roading capabilities in the tracks that we have had selected for us by the almighty Punju for this season. And as he described today's event, it is just for funsies. There's no championship points available for today's racing, which means, John, it could see an element of drivers maybe taking that extra little bit of risk in terms of getting a race win.
Oh yes, this car encourages late brake diving moves and indeed just mashing the throttle to try and get round your adversaries. So I think we are going to see some defying overtakes, some defining moments of the racing, that's for sure. But I'm sure there will be some upsets along the way for some of our favourites as well. Most notably on the dirt road course, because I know this car can tackle the dirt sections, but the bumps may be a bit less. So that one's going to be one to watch for the end. The sting in the tail, as they say.
I have seen a few drivers try and do some, I want to call it practice, but it wasn't very much practice as they made their way over the dirt road course. I can confirm the front nose of this Legends car was acting somewhat like an anchor as they were heading over some of the jumps. It was pitching down rather violently and sometimes more often than not face planting its way in towards the dirt. But our drivers have got 3 circuits before we head to the dirt road endeavours where they have to try and test their wits, their nerve, and probably even a little bit of courage as well. Just to run you through the tracks for tonight before we get racing, we have the Lemeland Motorsports Park, Caffeine and Octane's Lania Raceway, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and of course Wild West Motorsports Park as our 4 venues for this evening. Now, John, what sort of track or what sort of venue here are you looking forward to the most for our drivers?
Well, I'm going to say the basic, obvious answer, and I'm going to say actually all of them. Because the main difficulty right now actually is getting used to every surface type, right? You're going right from dirt right now, you'll go then onto tarmac or sealed surface, and you've got to change your driving style completely, although from what I'm seeing on screen right now, some people don't maybe have a driving style figured out just yet. They'll get there eventually in the warm-up, but it's very difficult to sort of adapt your style on the fly. And because we've got no qualifying here, they'll have to adapt to it like that, and right from green flag racing they'll have to be perfect on every single corner. That's going to be the challenge, and that's where most people are going to come unstuck at some point.
They absolutely are. And just a reminder, it is a 20-minute race across all of the various tracks that we have on offer for you this evening. And as you can see, the dirt racing at the Dirt Oval is our first point of call here at Lemeland Motorsports Park in Ohio, United States. The nickname of the Quarter Mile of Thunder, we've got 0.3 miles or 0.48 kilometers. It first opened all the way back in 1935, as we see a quartet of cars getting caught up in carnage. I can assure you that nothing has really changed with time in terms of how these cars handle it.
No, very difficult, obviously, oval course, and for my first time actually commentating on anything to do with oval racing. So it's a very different driving style. You can take a high line and keep momentum, or you can swoop down low and try and get the least sort of meters on your racing lap. It's a bit of a gamble of giving up track position, maybe to get a little bit of overlap of speed. So we're going to see a lot of close racing here, but very, very different driving style to what most people are used to, and definitely with the rear-wheel drive cars, they're going to be a little bit snappy, as you can see, for most of our drivers here. But I do love the liveries that we're seeing as well. Brendan Hyperstar having a self-explanatory livery that just says car on the back. I love it.
It's a very, if you've ever watched or grew up with UK television, it's a very Top Gear livery, if that makes a sense to people watching at home, when they couldn't run advertising on the BBC, so they kind of had to go with warning stickers and something slightly less obvious. That is what it reminded me of in the first instance. We were watching with Ancephalosis, or were watching with Ancephalosis, just making their way around the course and about to pile drive into another car that stopped on what presumably was the outside apex of the second corner. Does have to reset all the way back to the pit with just under 20 seconds to go. We will run you through the grid probably in the next few moments, but I can confirm for folks at home that we've got Tom97 starting on pole for all 4 races here this afternoon, and we will run through how that qualifying how the grid order has been set for today's racing. There is no qualifying for our drivers, so it is just dealing with reverse championship order in terms of average points they've earned for each race appearance. Unfortunately, we aren't going to be able to get full classification or grid order until we load up here. We may not be able to get it in terms of displaying it on the broadcast. I think it might be a bit of a quirk here with how iRacing deals with custom set grids, but nonetheless, it looks like we are going to have it on the screen. So we have got Tom97 that starts from pole position. Alongside him, Chesnoid Gaming starts on row 1. It's Killer Cleo and El Zahindri that start 3rd and 4th, respectively. Skir Squad, respected and placed up in 3rd place. And O Biscuits in 4th. It's Ancephalosis that starts in 5th, with Punju starting a few positions higher than his lucky number 13, as he starts on the 3rd row. El Taco Man in his all blacked out Legends car starts from 7th place. Alongside them, Love 46 starting again slightly up higher from their normal order place. It's Matt 212 that starts in 9th place, with Brendan Hyperstar and that self-explanatory livery starting from 10th. And that is your grid order for this afternoon. We are moments away from getting started. It will be the pace truck that leads us away for a lap, and then we will go racing for approximately 87 laps of racing here at the Limaland Motorsports Park. Now, John, 87 laps, an incredibly long distance if you're looking at it from a traditional racing standpoint. But as it's only 0.3 miles, those laps are going to fly by.
I've heard 14 seconds around there, the lap time around here when you're going at full pace. So it's going to be gone in a flash. But that also means for the guys at the back, they have to get a move on and they have to keep it clean as well. Because if you go a lap down and there's a caution or something, then you're in serious trouble. So we'll have to wait and see how they deal with that. It's a new format for everybody. So those used to qualifying at the front may find themselves in trouble in terms of overtaking. I can't wait, honestly. This is going to be glorious.
I really can't wait at all. It's going to be one heck of a race. You do not want to miss this, folks. The pace truck peels in, and that's going to allow Tom97 to control the pace of the field. 87 laps here at the Limaland Motorsports Park, and we're green flag racing. It's going to be carnage. It'll be chaos. There's 3 wide already. 4 wide in the background as our creators try and put their foot to the floor and stop the wheels from slipping.
Yeah, Killer Cleo overtaken instantly there by, I think that's Ancephalosis in 3rd position right there. Chesnoid Gaming and Tom97 doing their part to stay at the front, but people already losing traction as El Tacoman just gets it really, really wide, and it looks like Kamikaze and Alex Gillen are having a go as well in the background, so a lot of overtakes there as Punju will have a big advantage here as well. He knows these cars off by heart, and he's up to 3rd place already. Look at him go.
Yeah, he's had the start of a lifetime. And the moment contact between himself and Killer Cleo, that is going to be El Taco Man as well, caught up in the carnage as those cars go spinning around, dropping down the order as well. That, though, promotes Gillen, Blueberry and Matt 212 up in towards the top 10. The racing is still as fierce as ever here.
I wish I could say that wasn't commentator's curse, but just after I said that happened. Yep, just spun around, sadly, Killer Cleo, just carrying a bit more momentum, and Punju kind of bogged down on the apex, and then everybody went spinning in sympathy. When you're turned in, when you're committed to the corner, there's not much you can do. And as you can see, just after that tap, Killer Cleo gets collected as well. So, yeah, very unfortunate. They're not a lap down as far as I can tell, so they can move back up the order, but they're going to have to get a move on as the front is definitely pulling away with this at the moment. But that's the other thing as well, is dealing with lapped traffic, and not necessarily are they obliged to let you pass, so you have to just find your way past and see if you can keep the momentum going.
They absolutely are. It's a really difficult circuit to drive, and to do it so repetitively over 20 minutes, it doesn't feel like a lot, but the time you get to 70, 80 laps or so, it really starts to set in, and that's a mistake, a very rare mistake from Ancephalosis, who's had to try and peel his way back to the order. Hyperstar's got the move on Gillen, or has he at the moment, as Ancephalosis gets past both El Zahindri and Blueberry as well.
The Ancephalosis was challenging Tom 97 for the lead, as well as Aerotech. Aerotech's having tremendous pace on this circuit, so he's on form and knows exactly what he's doing. As Punju making his way up the order into P15, passing Chesnoy Gaming, who has had a disaster of race. I think he may have had been caught up in that spin. So unfortunate, as Alex Skinner moves up to P7 as well. So overtakes galore here as Brendan Hyperstar looking to defend a little bit and trying to move and close in on Blueberry and indeed on Ancephalosis. So this will be a battle that heats up as they try and get going. And most drivers now, you can see, are getting used to the driving here. They're making less and less mistakes. Killer Cleo moves up to P10 as well, as it looks like Matt 212 has had a little bit of a problem on the apex there and overtaken by Sparks and Killer Cleo right there as well, as Aerotech trying to find a way past Tom 97, but it's not working out. Oh, sorry, has passed Tom 97 now, according to the timing. So Tom 97 relinquishes the lead for the first time, and look at Aerotech pull away now.
Yeah, he's going to try and make this lead count. There's a little bit more carnage. The Scooby-Doo car is facing backwards. That's going to be number 15. That's Supreme TV. And that's a spin for Love 46. And that's Aerotech crashing into the car that sits in 14th at the moment of race leader, caught up in carnage amongst the back markers.
I mean, he got away with it. He's still P4, so not too bad. But, you know, that could have gone so much worse. The momentum they're carrying, it just acts like ping pong balls, basically, between the walls. And that was an unintentional rhyme as well, but I'll take credit for it. As, yeah, at the front, it's shaping up to be a very good battle with Blueberry in first place at the moment. But look at Ancephalosis go. He's gone all the way from that contact to back in contention for the lead. Tom 97 taking the momentum around the outside. This is a really big battle between the top five.
Minor mistake from Ancephalosis there, couldn't quite get the car turning in as much as he would have liked. He tried to challenge Brendan Hyperstar there, who's taken the outside line, and watch Tom 97 come through and do a very similar thing. He might go for the up and under here, slightly blocked off by Ancephalosis' car, and El Zahindri is still slightly behind them as well in that beautiful orange livery. But I think all of our drivers starting to settle into this rhythm now, but it's Blueberry still under pressure from Brendan Hyperstar for the lead of this race.
Blueberry looks like they're just a bit more in control of what they're doing. And the yellow is out, the caution is out. That means safety car or safety truck out on track. And that, for Blueberry, as they nearly ram into the safety truck, is not the ideal timing, as they were just getting away then, just managing to make the gap more and more car lengths. But that closes up the field, and that means that anybody that was having a bad time is now given a reprieve.
Certainly do, and it will close the field up, not necessarily in the order because of cars maybe being lapped already or caught up in earlier carnage that had to return to the pits for some damage. From what I remember, Punji saying there is no fast repairs for this race series. They are not going to get that ability to head into the pits and get themselves out in an instant. And now, obviously, we've had a few drivers. It's Brendan Hyperstar that sits in P2 from Ancephalosis and Aerotech. Tom 97's dropped 4 places in only 20 or so laps.
He did well to retain the lead. Obviously, this is not Tom's forte, let's say. You know, he's used to Formula 1 tracks, high downforce cars. This is literally the opposite of that. So I'm actually very impressed to see the pace and consistency. Just letting the others, you know, have the overcut and get past him if necessary. But he's remaining in contention and actually has done a very good job of just copying the other people's driving style. You could see him go wide just before the caution a few times and tap the wall. But he's out there learning what you can and can't do with the car, and he might still be in contention for this one, in my opinion, as I think we're back under green flag racing.
We certainly are indeed. Safety truck has peeled in. We're going racing again. Just clarification on what I said slightly earlier. Damage is off for these races. So whilst they don't have any fast repairs, they don't have to endure too much damage. The only time they'd have to pull themselves back to the pits is if they're truly stuck out on the circle. Believe it might be the quicker way to get themselves racing. Once again, Matt 212 gets the better of El Taco Man. So there's cars spinning about, and I wonder what's gone on further back as there's a massive collision in the first corner. Cars are going absolutely flying everywhere, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a very quick caution again.
Yeah, that was Kamikaze, Punju, and I think Ancephalosis caught up in that one as well as Matt212, who's in the pits, and Love46 as well. So a lot of drivers caught up there just on the apex. They had no choice but to just try and get around it, but with cars moving, they had to pick a line, and sometimes it is the wrong line, as Blueberry getting very loose there, and that is another caution coming out to just make sure that they can clean up the racing a little bit. Very unfortunate for those caught up in the collision, but it happens. And for Kamikaze, it means going back down the order. So that was car 28, was it? Causing that initial collision?
Yeah, that's what it looked like we were riding on board with. I think Ancephalosis, as he run up to that incident on what was the inside of the corner, had absolutely nowhere to go. And unfortunately did go straight into the side of the car that spun. Still watching, I think, from the outside here. You see the cars just spin on the inside, and there is nowhere to go for those cars that were already committed to their line. Count them up, it's 2, 3, 4, and 5 that are all involved with that incident. And no surprise, the yellow flag and the safety truck are called out.
Yeah, you could see a little bit better from the outside camera rather than the onboard camera that the wheels were interlocked, basically. They couldn't free each other from the various bits of bodywork. So they were trying to put reverse then first gear, and they were just spinning basically around in circles with each other. So they managed to get each other freed from that, but it cost them a lot of time, and that has indeed caused the caution. But it will probably be in, and there it is, going in right now. So we will get racing once again with Blueberry taking again the green flag once again under pressure, this time from Brendan Hyperstar, but Aerotech and Alex Gillen working his way up the order will want to have a say in that as well. As I think Tom97 got way wide there on the restart and has left a good 10 car lengths between himself and Alex Gillen.
Yeah, Alex Gillen's had a good restart, or at least a good race start, as Punju tries to take the outside line. Goes around not one, maybe two cars. The cars turn in. Is he going to split the difference, though? Ancephalosis closing the door, and Punju just has to back out of that one. That could have been a pass for the ages. He's still going to look for it, though, as he has got the two cars in the sights ahead of him. He's going to be cautious watching them two battle as we've got a spin. That's going to be the yellow and red car of Killer Cleo that's gone for a spin.
Yeah, Killer Cleo there. Thankfully, they're in a very easy-to-see livery. But I think this is just... Blueberry in the wall. Brendan Hyperstar taking the lead briefly, but Aerotech manages to gain from it as well. I think there was just a coming together between the top two. Alex Gillen gets tagged by Blueberry, so back to P4, sadly, for Alex. But that is a gift for Aerotech there, as Blueberry still caught up trying to get the car back under momentum. This just demonstrates how difficult it is to keep that momentum. As you can see, also the track conditions are changing a lot. The track surface looks a little smoother. Yeah, Brendan Hyperstar just gets a kick of oversteer, and that just turns them into Blueberry, who has no choice but to back out of it. And that is unfortunate, but it happens, as here's Killer Cleo just being caught by our leading quartet now. So maybe they'll get out of the way. I'm not quite sure. It looks like it. They're taking a high line. So Brendan Hyperstar attacking around the outside, keeping the higher momentum, trying to get the undercut, the switch back on Aerotech. But Aerotech's wise to that. He'll now take a wide line, try and carry it. But it looks like Brendan Hyperstar is just finding more traction, finding more speed. And inevitably, this is going to be a pass for the lead.
Almost had a moment there where another car from the background could have caught up with our race leaders, but as you said, Aerotech just holding off for the time being. Hyperstar is being hyper aware as he tries to put pressure on our race leader. Blueberry and Gillen, though, in the background, just having a battle of their own. More spins as our front runners try and navigate their way through the carnage and the chaos. And so far, so clean for Aerotech and Brendan Hyperstar, who quite literally nose to tail.
Tom97 spun around P11 and now spun again and has collided with, I think that is Love46, or is it Brendan Hyperstar? That was Brendan Hyperstar that collided, so that is so unfortunate. So Tom going for the spin and then collecting one of the leaders as well. You couldn't make it up if you tried, but that just demonstrates how much chaos happens on such a short track.
I've seen cleaner flips there in WWE, and we saw it was Tom97 just sent spinning. And speaking of spinning, Blueberry sent into the bits there by Alex Gillen, who was well and truly not happy with the little off contact that he had earlier on in this race, and maybe giving back the favour that he first received from Blueberry has decided to send that car flying.
Yeah, I think real-life race engineers need to write that one down. There's a new way to force your rivals into the pits. I want to see that strategy now. That was a good one, but unfortunate for Blueberry, that's for sure, as they are out on track again, trying... Oh, Ancephalosis! And I think that's Alex Ginnon as well, entering into a little bit of contact there. So they're still going the argy-bargy way, or is that El Zindriani, actually? It might be that or Kamikaze. It's difficult to say with the similarly liveried cars, but yeah, a lot of battles happening in this midfield. Can confirm, I do think that is Kamikaze battling with Ancephalosis, and you have Brendan Hyperstar as well in the mix, fighting with Alex Gillen. There actually is that car. So yeah, multiple battles there of multiple drivers just converging as Chesnoid has been sent round again. Collect Alex Gillen. Brendan Hyperstar goes around down the inside and gets an easy position swap there, but it's just all happening now at once on the track as one mistake leads to another.
Absolutely. It seems to be doubled down in terms of chaos here at the Speedway, and that's Ancephalosis going for another spin on the inside of one of the corners. He's got to be careful on the rejoin as cars come spinning around the outside. That's car number 21 of Map 212, who wanted to maybe avoid some earlier carnage, does so successfully, but does put himself in a bit of a tricky and traversing situation. As we do see the white and blue, yellow flag out, and that's going to be the safety car deployed once again. Have had more incidents out on this circuit. We wait for it to catch the race leader of Aerotech, and that will nullify the grid once again.
Yeah, Aerotech, I think, had just started to build a lead as well. Typical, isn't it? 1.6 seconds it was, and now it's going to be reduced back to nothing. But for Blueberry, that will be a little bit of a reprieve as well, as you can see that some cars are, well, about to hit the safety car, but are meant to go round the safety car to unlap themselves. So yeah, a few battles there getting broken up, but then again, that does mean that we condense the pack once again to go racing, and that means that the battles will be even more chaotic. It's kind of that scenario now that safety cars lead to safety cars. As soon as you get the field bunched up like at the start, they're more confident now, they're more likely to go for the gaps, and that means that if you misjudge anything, there's so little margin of error that an accident probably and most definitely will happen.
Yeah, we've got a nice situation at the moment where drivers are allowing those that are lapped to make their way through and pass the safety truck. We have got just under 6 minutes to go left in this session. Not quite sure what Blueberry's doing as they try and make their way past. I saw a move between themselves and Alex Gillen there. I think we are going to have the safety car potentially in the next few laps, if not this lap, as the field gives it a little bit of space and a little bit of room. Supreme TV gets past Alex Gillen as well. He seems to be dropping down the order under the safety car period, so I wonder if maybe gained some positions illegally and is trying to hand them back to his fellow racers, which is a very prestigious thing to do here.
Yeah. The safety car is in as the back markers still unlapping themselves, so this might be interesting. As when does Aerotech decide to go? He has control over the situation. Brendan Hyperstar will want to profit from that, but Aerotech goes. Brendan is caught a little bit unaware, and that's already 3 car lengths of a gap right there. Brilliant restart from Aerotech, and Blueberry looks to be following there quite closely, trying to catch up. Supreme TV has caught a lot of positions here, up to P4. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic from Supreme. He's managed to get past Gillen, now sits in P4 at the moment, but these front three pretty much going hammer and song in the opening stages of this restart. We see the battle between Matt 212 and Tom 97 and the little trio further back, all scrapping it out for the lower down positions, sat in P9 respectively. Sparks gets the better of Kamikaze as well for 6th and 7th position respectively. The Kamikaze tries to hold on to the position as much as he possibly can. We're watching up on our race leaders, Aerotech and Brendan Hyperstar. This is the battle for first. Blueberry's in this fight as well, as there's positions going down further down the order, almost looking three-way as Brendan Hyperstar gets an amazing bit of speed out of the corner, narrowly avoiding the spun laps car, and somehow he is still racing here.
Yeah, that's the aftermath of that battle between Kamikaze, Sparks, Matt 212, and I think it was Ancephalosis as well. Kamikaze coming off worse in that one, although Tom 97 as well, up to P10 again, so gaining good positions here. Although you can see the leaders, how much faster they are at the moment, as they've already lapped, or coming up to lap Tom 97, so really look at the exit speed out of the banking, which, if I remember correctly, 2 cars stopped there. I think that might be Ancephalosis, I'm not quite sure. No, they're still going, trying to find the cars there. Punju looks like he's going slowly as well, according to our race director. Matt 2-2 is in the barriers, apparently. That's a good note.
Yeah, it was El Taco Man, El Indriani, and Sparks, I believe, all caught up in that instance slightly further back. But it is still Brendan Hyperstart that leads from Aerotech Blueberry, 1.6 behind as Tom 97 losing the car and sending it in to the car that was on their left-hand side. Couldn't do anything about that, and I think Matt 2-2 benefits from that little bit of contact. So does Ancephalosis and El Zindriani. Kamikaze and Gillen having a good scrap, and I think it might have ended in tears as we see cars spinning off left, right, and centre. Blueberry goes to avoid, smacks into one of the lighting poles, and I think that could be a little bit unfortunate for themselves.
Just trying to get back up on pace, lighting up the tyres, and that sent them spinning round. Just to note, Alex Gillen's collision was with Tom 97, just trying to lap Tom, and Tom had a little snap of oversteer and just was sent into the path of Alex Gillen. Oh, this happened to Brendan Hyperstar as well, as he's gone round and probably will be overtaken by Supreme now. Not quite. Managed to recover it very well, but it just indicates how you've got to be very careful when trying to negotiate back markers, and that is another caution thrown out with very little racing left to go. So this is going to be a couple of lap sprints to the finish, in my opinion.
I was going to say, talk about having a sprint to the finish, and in dirt ovals, this still could equate to about 8 or 9 laps, probably closer to 5 or 6 by the time the safety truck does peel in, and cars have got themselves prepped in order. Blueberry there slamming on the anchors to make sure they don't pass Supreme TV, as everybody else makes their way past the outside of this train to get themselves back on towards the lead lap, or at least as close to it as they possibly can. You can see Killer Cleo just in the background making her way up towards the train. I think we'll potentially head round just to unlap themselves. Just to keep you updated, it's Aerotech that leads still from Brendan Hyperstar. Supreme TV, an almighty run through the order, finds himself in third, well, I was going to say third place as Alex Gillen goes swooping past the order, not quite realising that we might be under safety car here, and it was lapped cars going past, so he will have to give those positions back.
Yes, unfortunately, trying to overtake under the safety car does not work here. So old habits die hard, as they say, for Alex Gillen, but he's forced to give those positions back, and it looks like we are getting underway with racing with literally 1 minute to go, and as Chesnoy tries to avoid the chaos, and he hasn't, he's spun, and that is into the path of everybody in the midfield who's tried to go off and avoiding action. Everybody caught up there in the midfield, and you can see the gaps increase from Matt 2-2 downwards, who's lost 5 seconds because of that.
Yeah, will not be impressed. Try to avoid it. Did let the car roll up towards the banking, so probably the most sensible decision, but it's Chesnoid Gaming again. The cars have caught up with him. He's on the outside. Oh, almost looks to lose in contact with Brendan Hyperstar as they go all across the order. That's Hyperstar's chance of winning absolutely down the drain. Supreme TV almost getting caught in the same drama as well, but all this is going to do is allow Aerotech to try and make his way through, unless Matt 2-1-2 wants to try and get caught up in this last lap shenanigans. 15 seconds to go. Probably one more lap of racing here, and Aerotech leads by over a second. Goes round the outside of Matt 2-1-2, securing safety here. 5 seconds on the clock. Will come round the final corner, and this will surely be it for Aerotech. He'll come up towards the line and crosses it as he comes around the final corner. Get my corners mixed up here. Apologies, folks. Aerotech, though, after a fantastic 20-minute race, wins the first here at the Raceway. Fantastic stuff to open his account. And it's Aerotech who stands on top.
I think Blueberry quite annoyed after that, and everybody's going into each other after the race finish. I think there might be some recriminations on race 2. I'm just doing a little bit of foreshadowing for that one. Definitely no incidents that were anyway controversial in that one, but I must say, for Supreme, I don't know how he survived that to finish P2. It must have just tagged it perfectly to not send them off in another direction. So Aerotech wins with Supreme second place, Alex Gillen completing the podium for that one. Blueberry P4, Kamikaze making his way all the way up to 5th, just trying to stay out of trouble with Sparks and Ancephalosis 6th and 7th. Brendan Hyperstar after that really difficult contact at the end, which he had no part really to play in, P8. Tom 97 P9 after starting on pole. A good result nonetheless, with Matt's 2-1-2 completing the top 10.
Yeah, only 9 drivers on the lead lap, though. That'll be something to talk about, I think, as we head into what will be race 2. Just to finish off your complete order in the top 16, Els Indriani finishes in 11th place with Killer Cleo in 12th, Punju in 13th, El Taco Man in 14th, with Chesnoid Gaming and Love 46 bringing up the rear. Both of those 6 and 8 laps down, respectively, at the end of the Grand Prix. Not one that I think they'd want to write home about after that dirt oval race. And I've got good news for them. We lose the dirt, but we keep the oval as we head to the Lania National Speedway, or for sponsorship reasons, the Caffeine and Octanes Lania Raceway.
Good naming right there.
Yes.
I'll take your word for it. But I am almost glad that we had that first race on the dirt oval, because now it just means that we have a storyline for Chaos, because I'm sure that there's drivers now that will either want a little bit of friendly revenge, let's call it, or indeed those that will just want to demonstrate the first race was a fluke. So this is only going to heat up from now on out.
It certainly is indeed. Our creators and our drivers have a brief pause whilst they get themselves into the brand new lobby, and that gives us a little bit of time for just a breather and a calm down from what we saw out there on the dirt oval. Of course, we have got more oval racing to come, and we have still got 3 more races to come. Each of those 20 minutes, each of those with the exact same grid order to start, which is somehow Tom97 on pole position, even though he finished in P9. We have got Aerotech sat in the interview waiting room, which is always nice to see. And let's see if we can drag him in for a bit of an interview. Mr. Aerotech, welcome in. 1 race, 1 victory, and by 1 second. That must feel good.
You know, I got to write some checks. I want to thank my boy Tom for when I bumped him, he spun out into Brandon. I'll send him a check in the mail. I need to thank my boy Chesnoid, who found a way to get Brandon twice. That second one was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But we did great. We came up through the field really good. I was expecting issues, and I mean, we had tons of chaos. But to anybody watching at home, I think that was the most fun I've ever had in Creator Series, in regardless of platform. I was cry laughing in the last 4 laps and couldn't see where I was going. So I was really hoping a disaster wouldn't befall him a race there at the end. But yeah, I'm stoked, man. That was awesome. That was dumb, but in the best ways possible.
Thing is, we had quite a few incidents there. Do you think that you have a target painted on your back possibly for the next races?
Oh, I hope so. If I survive this race, the dirt row one is right in my wheelhouse. So if anyone sees a purple 03 going into a corner, I'm just going to get drop kicked. Like, that's kind of what I expect to happen here. But it's all a good fun too. Takes no points too. I think a lot of people are letting their freak fly. But like the spirits were high in the Discord call, at least. Like, again, we were all cackling and laughing. There was just some confusion with getting laps back, but I think that race control's kind of figured out with the macros now. So I think we should be good to go. This will be a good one here too now.
Absolutely. And I was going to ask, how's your feelings heading into Lania? Are you as optimistic maybe as heading into the dirt oval? Is there a difference in driving style somewhat?
The dirt oval kind of sits in my wheelhouse because a lot of my sim experience is drifting. So kind of like 3/4 throttle, a little bit of counter steer is right in my wheelhouse. The tarmac is going to even the playing field, and these cars are not easy to drive, let's say, in oval, but the linear is there's a lot of banking. You can carry a lot of speed, so there's not going to be a lot of people get up to speed quickly. So those who are struggling with the dirt might not have as much problem. So I think you'll see a lot more competitive cars at linear.
How difficult is it going to be to adapt for most drivers? Because we're talking a lot about changes of surface. That's not easy in the best of times.
No, iRacing's dirts, if you've never done it, is pretty unique to get used to, especially on the dirt oval side, because this is like the dirt oval sim. There's kind of nothing unless you want to talk about mods and other stuff. It's a lot to get used to when you haven't driven it yet. Like, I decided one season I was going to do Pro 4 trucks, and that's what I was going to do. And it took me a year just to get somewhat competitive. So for those who haven't done it, I said this in the Discord call. I tip my hat to everybody today who's never driven oval, never driven dirt, who's coming out here and having a good time, because I think that's what Creator Series is all about. We don't actually all care where we finish, and I hope we don't. We're here to put on a show for people watching at home and to have fun, and today's been off to a good start, let's say.
I think the only dirt oval that I've taken somewhat seriously was a week 13 one when we had the Formula 1600s on a dirt oval. So that was rather fun. I'm sure it probably was slightly less fun in the Legends car. But Aerotech, thank you so much for hopping in for an interview. We'll let you go. You've got a couple of minutes before we get going at Lania, and best of luck.
Thanks very much.
Well, we head from dirt oval to a regular oval and some interesting insight into the Lania Raceway. When it first opened in 1982, it was originally a dirt track. It was only then later paved in the mid 1980s. So for a good few years when it first opened, it would have been a dirt oval that we would have raced on.
I love tracks that have evolved like that. Just so much history, so much just actually describes perfectly the evolution of racing. You know, you started really amateur, just bringing your daily car, I guess, and just driving around a dirt track, and then all of a sudden the interest in racing peaks and just goes to new levels, and you're forced to adapt the cars, adapt the tracks, adapt indeed the barriers, and even spectator zones, increase the grandstands, etc. Just these oval tracks just have that perfect demonstration of that microcosm and climate of just everything about motorsports racing that I must say I love, and it's going to be so good to see them going oval racing. I must admit that is probably peak in terms of just enjoyment. However, I am noticing that that looks like Laguna Seca.
That does look like Laguna Seca, so it looks like we're going to road second of all. Maybe I've got my notes mixed up here as to which order we are going in, but I was fairly sure we were told.
Order. I had the same order
just
of
double
the
checking.
oval. This is an interesting one. So we've had a little bit of a swap around, which is good. As we saw Chesnoid there doing a little bit of a donut. We love seeing that. So even worse for our drivers, they go from dirt oval to paved roads. So yeah, that's not going to be tricky whatsoever.
So from what I've now read, and I may have read this wrong earlier, I'm going to blame Punju. He probably doesn't deserve it, but I'm going to blame him anyway. The order is slightly changed from it now sits dirt oval road, so Laguna Seca. We then head to dirt road, which will be the Wild West Motorsports Park in Nevada, and then the final race of the evening will be our oval at Lania. So now we head to Laguna Seca, probably one of the longest circuits on our racing here this afternoon. Opened in the 1957, if you can believe it or not. The length of it, 2.23 miles in Monterey, California. And there are two configurations, technically, of this circuit. First, the full and school, which focuses on the cones and the braking points and the turn-in points, which, thankfully, we have not given our drivers here this afternoon.
That would have been extra chaos and carnage to see that layout. I think I'd also pay good money to see that, but I'm sure the drivers wouldn't. So, yeah, this is going to be really tricky with the braking zone. You know, they've had to master the oval brakes, and now they've got to just master the deep braking of a standard track layout. This might be something to watch, that's for sure. So all of the fast drivers starting at the back there once again, as I think Tom97 is in a different liveried car there at the front. So as livery changing from predominantly orange to now blue and black. So one to get used to and to stay noted about, as Chesnoid's still in the red car alongside him.
Yeah, a lot of the liveries may have changed. Obviously, technically, these are a slightly different specification from the cars you'd run on dirt courses. The Legends car in iRacing, as most people at home will know, has two configurations, road and dirt. So we are running the road configuration at the moment. Typically what I've been driving for the unsafety car for most of this season, which I can tell you is a lot more scary than you think it is. And you've got a lot of cars coming at you rather rapidly and hoping that you leave them round the course. We see El Zindriani here, sat in P4 at the moment, just behind the Killer Clio, who will be to her left, making their way through this 11-turn raceway. Of course, with the infamous corkscrew to essentially kick off midway through the lap after you head through the Andretti hairpin. There is a lot of moments in this race circuit that you have to try and kind of hold on and pray to whatever God you believe in.
Yeah, I love that old school wheel from Zindriani there. Just excellent vibes. Also, did you notice the amount of gravel there that has been pulled onto the track in practice? That's going to be slippy at the best of times for the racing, so hopefully nobody spins out on that one. But yeah, the corkscrew here going to be very tricky and also covered in gravel. So we're on a dirt track at this point, so there's going to be a mix of conditions.
Certainly will be. Brendan Hyperstar choosing the same livery for both in his very stripped back and thankfully informative livery. If he does ever lose a part, he does know which part he's lost and where it has to go back onto his car. The safety truck peels in though here at Laguna Seca. The 20 minutes of Laguna Seca for a road racing portion of the Legends Across the Licenses is about to go ready. We await the flag flying at the top of your screens. The drivers speed up, the green flag flies, and we're underway in Laguna Seca. It's a good start from all of our drivers rushing in towards the Andretti hairpin. It's all about picking your braking zones here as Chesnoid goes to the inside. A few drivers running wide. It looks like Brum's tried to come down the order slightly further back. We've had a spin. That's Ancephalotis. Killer Cleo as well getting caught up as cars go spinning around.
Oh, yeah, super unfortunate. A lot of people just trying to avoid the chaos. Oh, Top 97 around has collected Chesnoid. They've both gone for a spin. Top 97 still spinning. Collects Chesnoid a second time and is just trying to stay out of trouble. But that is disaster for the front two of the starting grid as Love 46 and El Tacoman last late breakers. Who's going to take it? El Tacoman up the inside. But Love 46 gets the switch back and will have the inside for the next couple of turns. What a chaotic start.
Love 46, of course, finishing last in the dirt oval just mere moments ago, now has found their forte in the road racing portion of these legends. El Tacoman did well to avoid the carnage and the chaos, has got a good run here as they head into what will be the next heavy braking zone. Looks to the left, it's a slight cut-off from El Tacoman, does not realise that Love 46 was on their inside. He manages to come away somewhat scot-free. Love 46, though, will be looking for vengeance now as he tries to chase down the American that stands in front of him. Gillen's made his way up to third with Punju in fourth. El Zindriani still stands in fifth as Punju does dispatch Gillen at the first time of asking. We're watching slightly further down on board with Brendan Hyperstar in P10. And we've got a car spinning around in the background. That's going to be Chesnoid Gaming, who's not having a good race to remember.
Yeah, well, when controversy happens, it usually happens in threes. That is 3 spins in 1 lap for Chesnoid. That is not ideal, that's for sure. As Alex Gidden struggling a little bit, I think he went straight on at the corkscrew. Just decided to straight line it a little bit as he's having a battle with Punju there for P3. But yeah, El Tacoman doing what he needs to do as Blueberry moves up to P5. We're battling with Supreme. It looks like you can see them in the background side by side through Andretti hairpin. But yeah, also we saw Killer Cleo dropping down the order there on the timing board all the way from P6. Oh, around goes Love 46. I think that was just a little bit of a mistake there. So unfortunate, and hopefully they haven't collected anybody.
Yeah, it was a little love tap actually on the back of El Tacoman, just into the braking zone. The car just got unsettled and away they went. They've dropped down, what is that, 11 positions in just as many seconds almost as all the other drivers pile on past them. Alex Gillen trying to hold off Punju. I do love Gillen's livery though for these road racing cars. If you grew up in the probably mid to late 90s in the UK, you remember Brum from TV. That is absolutely fantastic and a good show to go watch if you're wanting some nostalgia here this afternoon. We run in towards one of the most treacherous corners in racing. Recently, we go through the corkscrew. Gillen's gone past. Tacoman's made a mistake at the bottom of the corkscrew. Gillen's our new race leader.
That is so unfortunate. It's so easy to get the car sideways. Look at that from Punju. I was getting ready to commentate on a big crash there, but it did not happen. Well saved. Delzingiani, I think, making a place up on Aerotech. As, Blueberry just into the back of Punju, missed the braking zone, and I think, has just gone all the way around 360 and is still back racing. Still in P4. That is incredible stuff, battling with Supreme. But yeah, it's so difficult to control the car sometimes. It just takes a little snap of momentum, and that is it. You go spinning all the way around, as Alex Gidden now has quite a bit of a buffer. Will he be able to maintain that? It looks like Punju has supreme pace at the moment, and there's enough time to catch Alex Gidden, but that is a good start as we've got Blueberry overtaking Supreme here. We'll have the inside line, but look at Kamikaze. Well, I was going to say look at Kamikaze. He spun all the way round, and now he's stuck. Rejoining as well. Very good rejoin, it must be said, calculated and not taking anybody out, as that Supreme off as well. Disaster for Supreme.
Yeah, it's a weird place to drop the car. Just they made their way out of the Andretti hairpin through turns 2 and 3, and maybe the car just got a little more unsettled than they were hoping for. But Alex Gillen still leading this race, and we see what's going to happen here to El Tacoman. And it is exactly what we thought happened. Just drops it as we come through the corkscrew and does wait there just to rejoin the circuit. Very sensible from what was our race leader for a number of laps here. We're on lap 3 of 12. Estimated, of course, this is a time-based race, so we will just have until that timer hits 0, and then the checkered flag will fly. El Taco Man has recovered to P8, although he's being battled, I believe, by Kamikaze, who swoops on past him. No, that's going to be Sparks, who swoops on past him. And it is going to be himself trying to hold off at the moment.
Yeah, that's a mistake from El Taco Man that we've seen very often. Well, all going spinning is El Zindrani. Yes, it was. I was just hesitating a little bit, so just losing the car in the compression. Basically, what's happening is they're going into a compression like we saw in our WRC series a few months ago, and that changes the weight balance of the car. So if you're turning a lot, you'll suddenly get a lot of front grip, and the car will just snap because the rear can't follow. And it just happens in the blink of an eye, and yeah, so difficult to just maintain control of the car in that situation, and it will happen every single lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a note, folks at home, if you're trying to keep an eye on the timing tower on the left-hand side of your screens and looking at the race numbers and the car numbers and going, that's not quite who's in that livery of car, do not fear. I think it's just something on the back end that hasn't quite worked its way out. Alex Gillen, who leads, is number 77. 65 and 64, Sparks and El Taco Man that tries to work their way through. And it is going to be a battle between these two in towards the heavy braking zone. Producing the back end has refreshed, unfortunately not caused or solved the issues on our back end. We will try and get that fixed for next race, but at the moment it's a little minor mistake for car number 64 of El Taco Man.
Yeah, it just looks like the suspension configuration may be a little bit too stiff for the compressions, and so that's catching out a lot of drivers. Kamikaze making good impression. This is Blueberry on Punju, and Punju, I think, just turns in, or was expecting Blueberry to turn in. It didn't happen, and Blueberry has been spun around by that. Very unfortunate. They'll have to get going again just out in front of Sparks, who will try and profit from this with overheating tires. That is, who was that?
Aerotech.
Aerotech, yes, it was. My dear, Aerotech making a mistake. Very rare to see that in this car, but that's so unfortunate. He was running very well at the front.
Well, he did say if we saw a car coming up the inside and we knew it was purple, maybe just to keep an eye on him. We have Brendan Hyperstar just ahead of Punju, sat in P3 at the moment. We have got Alex Gillen still leading by over 4.7 seconds. An incredible lead that Alex Gillen has pulled out at the moment, with only about a third of the race through. We have still got over 12.5 minutes left in this race. Punju is still battling it out with Brendan Hyperstar. That's Blueberry trying to put the pressure on Sparks as the fastest lap gets set by Kamikaze, who's all the way down in P10, finally finding some pace here this afternoon.
Yeah, he has got the pedal to the metal, and I'd say this car definitely suits him, and it will probably suit quite a few of the drivers who doesn't like a non-traction control rear-wheel drive car on a legendary track like this. I must say, a very good racing normally with these mechanical grip cars. You don't have to worry about the downforce. There is practically none, which means you can do switchbacks like this, or like Blueberry was attempting to do. Sparks is just covering it off, or just having enough momentum to not allow it to happen. Well, he will go very defensive though and rattle over the curb onto the dirt a little bit. That allows Blueberry to just get the switchback and into the corkscrew once again. Hopefully this time no incidents for Blueberry. Going over the curb, taking that braking zone. Oh, a little snap of oversteer you saw on the brakes, but all well controlled, and that is Blueberry now on a charge to catch Matt 212.
Yeah, it's a real difficult one to try and keep these cars in control, especially when you're really pushing them to their limits. The weight transfer in them does sometimes feel like you're throwing rocks at the bonnet and hoping that front end just pitches down enough to get the heat and traction in towards the tyres. We're riding on board with Kamikaze, I believe, who's got Aerotech. No, we're not. That's Kamikaze that's spun.
Sparks.
Ignore me. Oh, Sparks has spun, sorry.
Yeah, Sparks all the way around on the apex. Not exactly sure what happened there. I don't think he was in a place to have contact with another car. I think it was just rotating on the brakes as they're doing the teleportation thing, which we've seen in previous... Yeah, it was a panic brake, really, from Sparks. Just deciding he was going a little bit too hot into the corner, was going to take out Blueberry and then collect. I'm going to guess that was either Supreme or Kamikaze there, just trying to get back out on track.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to reverse their way back and save what was left of their race at this point. We see car number 15 of... I can't remember. Oh, Supreme TV, my apologies. My reading skills are probably incomprehensible at the moment. Trying to chase down El Taco Man, who's looking to recover from his poor start at the moment. If you can remember that spin through the corkscrew slightly earlier on in this Grand Prix, he was leading, obviously dropping it, allowing Gillen to take that race lead away. Although Brendan Hyperstar is starting to make inroads over 1.2 seconds to Alex Gillen, and that's a beautiful switch back there from Supreme TV, as you just see El Tacaman go slightly wide. Supreme swipes on through, says wham bam, thank you man.
That gap is closing like nothing at the moment for Brendan Hyperstar. 2.5 seconds. While you were talking about it, it was 3.5. That is 1 second in a sector alone. So Alex Gillen under pressure here. Maybe taking it easy. Maybe taking time to cool off the tyres. A lot of the cars getting a little bit skittish on the brakes. I think just because they're having to be aggressive with the cars to get them chucked in and thrown into the turns. Otherwise they understeer. As off in the background, I think that might have been was it Sparks once again off in the background? Not exactly sure, but we've got a three-way battle with Blueberry defending now from Matt212, who has collided, I think, with Punju. So just a collision in the braking zone. Thankfully, they both get away with it, but that could have been so much worse. Punju just re-emerging exactly where he was, right behind Blueberry, as if nothing happened. But sadly for Matt212, that's a few car lengths lost.
Yeah, not the most ideal of situations at the moment. Does drop about 2.5 seconds behind Punju and Blueberry at the moment. The battle for third was starting to hot up for a considerable amount of time there. We got a replay of exactly what happened as they make their way in towards that first corner, which so easily can just go wrong. And it's a cut across the inside. It's a cut across the bow by Matt212. Punju, I don't think, can go anywhere there. He does come off slightly better than Matt212 that sits down in 5th place at the moment. Watching Aerotech as he tries to make his way forward. They'll have Kamikaze for company just slightly ahead of him. Sparks just off in the background. We're trying to make his way through now. Taco Man as well, not far off for company as they make their way in towards the corkscrew. Watch now with Alex Gillen, our race leader, coming up on back markers so early in the race with 8 minutes to go. Number 46, Love 46. Who sits in 15th place.
Yeah, this is not ideal for Alex Gillen, but this is what you have to deal with. And Love 46 getting tremendously unlucky in this race, it must be said. So not her fault that she's in this position at the moment. But what will Alex do? Try and get past as soon as possible. We know that Love 46 has great pace, so this might actually be a really difficult move to make. As Brendan Hyperstar, with that incredible pace for a couple of laps, he's still at 2 seconds, and that gap has been maintained for at least the last lap. So yeah, Blueberry not making any inroads either, as Kamikaze is just pedal to the metal at the moment, has nearly caught Supreme TV as well. After that gap was about 4 seconds, it's now down to 2 seconds. So this is the person to watch at the moment, as I think Brendan Hyperstar also will be looking at a red car thinking, yes, you're in my sights now, and now you've got no overtakes that can be made. Also, it's mine to seize.
Absolutely, he's going to try and push his way forwards. The question will be, can Gillen be held up slightly by Love 46, as you can see on the timing tower on the left-hand side, down in 15th place. Tom 97 has again had a race to forget in this Laguna Seca road section of the Legends Across the Licenses. There's minor mistakes from Love 46, but not letting Gillen past. No major yellow flags that we would, blue flags that we would expect here on the road course. They have to get past of their own fruition. I don't think Gillen quite has either the confidence or the grip to go for it. And the more time he spends behind Love 46 here, the more time inevitably he is losing to Brendan Hyperstar.
Well, yes and no, because if you look at the gap, it's come down 1/10 of a second, right? But Love 46 is actually keeping the same pace as the leaders, hence why Alex Gillen can't get past. So if we look at the race time left, realistically, possibly, as long as Love 46 doesn't make a mistake, Alex Gillen could just sit behind and just wait for the time to tick down. Although Brendan Hyperstar does take the fastest lap of the race, it's 1/10 of a second, so it's pressure on Love 46, paradoxically, to sort out this race lead. That's an interesting one.
Interestingly, Love 46 has actually been in the pits. They've stopped for a new set of tyres. Of course, there's no mandatory pit stop in these 20-minute races, so there's no requirement to go in. but they have done so slightly earlier on in the race. They're on 4-lap-old tyres compared to Alex Gillen's 9-lap-old tyres, so they will have that advantage, maybe trying to drag them through at the moment, and that might be what's keeping them ahead of Gillen at the moment. The fastest lap for our race leader, a 39.530, just 0.3 slower than Brendan Hyperstar behind.
Say incredible spot on that one, TK. I didn't even notice that they'd been in the pits, but well spotted. Will that make a difference in the end? Will the tires start going off? We can see the gap now down to about 1.7 seconds. As all sparks all the way over. Can Supreme profit from this? I think perhaps they can get it done. I'm not sure. Sorry, Matt 212. My apologies. Supreme up the inside, and yeah, the black liveried cars. Oh, Matt making a mistake right there from the rear. The cars looked exactly the same. So yeah, Matt just struggling with the car today, and that puts him outside of the top 5. But Punju not managing to make the headway he did mid-race, and he's fallen out of the battle for the podium for the moment. Can he make any headway now as Blueberry looks to have good pace as well? The gap to Brendan Hyperstar now out to 2.3 seconds, so perhaps has something happened right there. I maybe doubt it, but you never know with the pace at the front. So easy to make a mistake.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep an eye as we make our way through. Matt 212, though, still on the back of Supreme TV, and by extension, Punju, who sits in P4. The podium may no longer be on, but they are certainly battling it out for position. And as we alluded to earlier, there are no points, there's no championship points at least on offer. It is all about bragging rights amongst our drivers as we head for is this special event 2 of 3 in our iRacing calendar of the season. We're seeing here car number 16, that's going to be Kamikaze, trying to put pressure on Matt 212 just ahead, and Kamikaze continuing to set faster laps as we make our way through. Last time around 1:39.4, he's still got the fastest lap at the moment. No, he hasn't. He's been taken away, my apologies, by Brendan Hyperstar. But fastest lap of 1:39.2. You can see the concentration that he's got. Bump drafting, in fact. Matt 212 as they make their way up the hill. I wonder if he's going to go for a move here to the inside and get the move done. And that's the sort of move that Kamikaze absolutely loves. He'll wait for the opposition just to make that minor mistake, and they'll capitalise on it.
That was absolute bullying right there from Kamikaze, just giving him a nudge in the, I won't say the braking zone, but in the preparation zone for the corner, just to unsettle Matt 212. He went a little bit deep into the corner. That allowed Kamikaze to get up the inside and take that, as we've got Love 46 crashing. Oh, it's a spin right in front of Alex Gillen. So close to taking him out, but that means that the leaders have been released, and sadly for Love 46, a bad day gets even worse. Also, not a good day for Killer Cleo or Ancephalosis for the moment, but they will have a chance at redemption, as here you can see the gap between our leaders, 1.5 seconds now, as Brendan Hyperstar tries to close in, but Alex now has clean air once again. Can anything happen about it? As here we have the battle for the podium, well, just outside the podium actually, for P4, as Kamikaze overtakes Punju as well to get himself up to P5, with Supreme valiantly defending for the moment.
They're so far holding on. Supreme, but Kamikaze, we know, is one sly fox. He'll try and make everything work in his favour as they make their way through this race. Punju just on the back of Matt 212, I think just chilling at the moment. Might look for a move as Kamikaze to the inside. Gets the move done on Supreme. Fantastic stuff. And moves himself up to 4th place, and now will try and run potentially for a very last minute run at our podium sitter of Blueberry, who sits in 3rd place. But I think it may be too little too late on this occasion, as Punju also loses out to Matt 212. But speaking of Brendan Hyperstar, I think he may need some therapy after today's races. The amount of near misses that he's had in the first 2 alone here, John.
It's certainly a lively race. I also want to ask all of the marshals, as Kamikaze has gone for a spin, I think. Yep, he's dropping down the order. I was just about to say, nobody can say this is commentator's curse for once. I was about to say, can anybody look around the track for sandbags, because Kamikaze might have chucked them out of the car. But that has gone from bad to worse, as looks like Kamikaze might have made a mistake. Let's see what happened just a little bit late on the corkscrew, and that compression catches out one of the most experienced drivers in terms of changing surfaces, and he's gone for a little bit of a spin, but has managed to get back out on track, as that is, I think, is that the last lap being announced there by the white flag? It might be.
Yeah, it will be. 1:39 lap times, 1 minute to go, so our drivers will probably be on towards their last laps here. Gillen still leads by 1.2 seconds. Unless Brendan Hyperstar has got something saved in his tank, I don't expect him to try and mount a challenge, although he is gaining hand over fist in some of these braking zones where he's slightly more confident in the Legends car braking ability. I think Gillen is on the mindset now of just bringing this car home safely, avoiding mistakes. He does run wide, though, but I think that is just going to be a little bit of, shoreline damage for himself. It won't majorly affect that car coming home.
I think it's the dangerous time of the race where you just have to bring it home. It can lead you to just backing off and making a mistake. So yeah, he's just got to carry on his line. He's got enough time in hand to just keep pushing, and if it's a minor mistake, it won't matter too much. As Love 46 overtakes Killer Cleo, who looks to have a few problems on the last lap. Not exactly sure what was going on. But yeah, Alex, around the last turn, he has been consistent this race. That is what has got him the victory. Very good pace, as well as Alex Gillen wins race 2 here at Laguna Seca, and Brendan Hyperstar, will cross the line P2. What could have been if it weren't for all of those collisions?
Absolutely. Fantastic racing from all of our drivers. We have got the last few coming up towards the line. Supreme, Matt 212, Aerotech finishes in 6th after his trials and tribulations here at Laguna Seca, with Kamikaze finishing in 7th after a very late spin there. I think he'll be somewhat disappointed after that all unfolded. We got Car 97 and Punju crossing the line at the same time. Top 97 and Punju, and they'll make their way to the first corner, and I'm very much expecting a little bit of crush here. There we go. A little bit of friendly banter between the two of them. Car number 9 makes their way around the final corner. That'll be El Zindriani in P11. And then Encephalosis and the rest of the field will make their way towards the line. The checkered flag flew. Alex Gillen comes out on top.
Yeah, an incredible race, and just demonstrating what we have yet to come as well, with 2 more races here. So the action has been very dramatic, even more dramatic than I thought it would be. But it's probably only going to get more frantic as here we get confirmation of the results. Alex Gillen first place with that wonderful win. Brendan Hyperstar follows him closely home, 1.1 seconds the gap in the end, with Blueberry P3, a distant P3, but made their way up the order after a few mistakes. Supreme TV, consistent as always, with Matt 212 having a great result this time. Aerotech getting stuck in the midfield, it must be said, with Kamikaze with that late mistake, bumping him down all the way from P4. Unfortunate for him. Sparks in P8, with Punju just behind as well, after I think a few late mistakes, with El Tacoman in P10. El Zindriani and Encephalosis, the last cars on the lead lap, in P11 and P12. Killer Cleo and Tom 97 with Love 46 a lap down, and I missed the last driver.
I believe it was Chesnoid Gaming that finished down in P16. Now, John, I just want to bring a mention. So we've got a VIP in the iRacing YouTube chat. Mr. Jimmy Broadbent's come to say hello. He said ban aero, so I wonder if Aerotech's maybe something. Of course, Carnage and our producers just agreed in the background. But I mean, Jimmy, if you're ever free on a Thursday night and want to come race in what is probably one of the funniest iRacing series there is, apart from Week 13, feel free to come and join us, because we'd love to have you on this series. But John, we've had 2 races already. We've got 2 more to go in these Legends cars, and we are now swapping the asphalt for another dirt road track in, I think, what could be one of the most challenging for our drivers tonight.
At this stage, all I have to say is, are you not entertained? Because this is honestly fantastic racing. And yeah, with that dirt road course, Wild West, I mean, it's a perfect description for it, isn't it? And that's exactly what we're going to get as we change surface once again. If the drivers had just been beginning to get a little bit of confidence, it's gone now. Good luck.
It certainly is. We've gone from dirt to tarmac, back to dirt, and then we head to asphalt once again to just make themselves a little bit chaotic and confused for the racing environment that they find themselves in. Just a bit of background on the Wild West Motorsport Park, opened in 2012 in Sparta, Nevada, United States. Unfortunately, closed in 2021, so it's the only track that we're racing here today, and unfortunately has not survived through the pandemic. And it is going to be a real interesting one, a testing ground for our drivers. It is more usually frequented by off-road dirt trucks, but I think our Legends cars may have something to say about that tonight.
Well, If you remember back to the Rallycross week that we had a few weeks ago, the unsafety car was a Legends car. How can I say this expressively? Suspension was basically negative on it, so
Yes.
the bumps were not handled, is the best way I could describe it. And I think we had a certain somebody driving that unsafety car. I wonder who it could have been. But yeah, it was definitely very interesting to see them try and drive it. And yeah, very, very tricky. So I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of moments and a lot of saves from our drivers.
I'm trying to remember who did the safety or the unsafety car for our.
If I remember correctly, it was Nick, but I'm not.
Yes, it was Nick, who actually isn't here this afternoon. I think he said he was around and available. There we go, in the YouTube chat. Can confirm it was awful.
He had a few choice words, a little bit more descriptive than that to describe it, which I unfortunately can't repeat. But yeah, it was a vivid driving experience, let's put it that way.
I think our drivers are in for a bit of a shock to the system, both virtually and probably physically as well, if any of them are running some more haptic feedback in their sim racing setups. But what I can confirm, and Punju has given them a little bit of lease of life here, they've all done a custom setup in many aspects to allow the suspension to be a little bit greater than it traditionally would be.
Yeah, there has been about 5 iterations of this setup in development over the week that we've had, and so far the consensus has been for none of the setups, as they all have their little issues with it. There's no way to tune out the fact that you just don't have enough suspension travel. So caution is of the essence, and we're going to have to see who can do that. Shout out to anybody who's done any off-road driving, because they'll be at least a little bit familiar with taking it easy. Then again, this is Creator Series. No, nobody takes it easy around here.
If you have done much off-roading, and potentially if you've ever somehow done the Legends off-roading, do let us know in the live chats, wherever you're watching on whoever's YouTube channel or Twitch channel, or even TikTok or Kick or wherever you're watching. Do let us know if you've endured this chaos and this carnage before, because I, for one, cannot wait to see how it does. I've seen a few drivers running practice this afternoon before we got started with the live broadcast, and all I was watching was their cars going up a jump, front nose pitching down, and nose slamming it into the ground.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to hunt for lap time. I'm not sure it's the most effective, like the birds just diving their beaks into the ground to look for the worms. But yeah, maybe it won't work over the course of a race stint, as we have footage now. Look at that glorious track. Look at it. It looks so pristine. It won't be in a minute, but it looks okay for the moment.
Absolutely. We've got Nick, or Fly By Night as he's more commonly known. Does all the fantastic posters for Creator Series, and we massively thank him for that. We've got a note that he said, the way I can describe the jumps in this thing, sometimes it lands and almost wrecks, and sometimes it lands and actually wrecks. So our drivers have got a treat on their hands for their racing here this afternoon. Rob G. Barker's come into the Twitch chat saying they're off to Donington Park tomorrow for the British Touring Car Championship. Legends will be there as well. They were absolutely fantastic cars to watch, and if you get an opportunity, go watch them. I saw the Legends at Brands Hatch. I've been to the BTCC at Silverstone. It is absolutely fantastic, and I thought that's someone's wheel rolling off, but that's the big wheel in the background as the camera does change focus. Formation laps underway, or reconnaissance laps underway here, and all of our drivers have got to make sure they do not wreck on this opening lap.
I think the most interesting is going to be looking at the camera angles here, because we are going to see just a random car at some point popping up into the camera view on its roof somehow. We won't know how it's happened, as we've had drivers crash during the formation lap. What's going on there? I think it was Brendan Hyperstar having a little bit of a moment, but look at the cars over the jump. And we are Green Flag Racing. Sorry, my apologies. A very short starts there. I was expecting a full formation lap, but Tom97 has taken the race start, and it's already chaos right from the get-go.
It absolutely is. The cars are making the jumps. Sorry, not Kamikaze. That's going to be Ancephalosis in the dark green, number 24. Cars are going spinning left, right, and centre. That's going to be, I believe, Killer Cleo spinning off into the background in the yellow and red car. We've still got lots of battles going on Supreme TV. Punju's on 2 wheels as him and Ancephalosis getting caught up in that tight left-hander. All of our drivers in amongst this field are going left, right, and centre somehow, though, and it's a miracle on our hands. Tom97 still leads, folks.
Was that Kamikaze spinning around? There was somebody spinning. It was Kamikaze going all the way around, but that's the contact between Ancephalosis and Punju getting stuck once again, like on the dirt oval, and everybody having to take avoiding action because they can't actually see over the barrier. But yeah, we had Kamikaze off as well as look at the cars over the jump. They are landing flat for the moment, but if you just have a little bit of a twitch in the steering, it can just all go wrong, as that is pit exit as well. So we've got a car leaving the pits. I think that's Blueberry and El Taco Man as well still in the pits. So yeah, very, very difficult start for our drivers here, as it looks like Tom97 still in the lead, and that is Supreme around, and I think Alex Gillen collected him as well.
Yeah, I think that's Supreme getting caught up. That's going to be number 77. No, that was Gillen getting caught up, I believe, as he made his way through and spinning around. I think the livery might have had a bit of a shake-up, as Alex Gillen now running a very similar one to what we saw on Supreme earlier on. We've got a battle up at the front, though. Car 16 of Kamikaze trying to pit himself up against car number 10 of Brayton and Hyperstar, and it's Kamikaze that gets the better over these jumps. You can see the front nose of these cars just pitching down as they come over that jump, and that's Blueberry finding out the consequences.
What has Tom97 had for breakfast here? He's 3.8 seconds in the lead. That's incredible. He's just taken the green flag and just pulled off into the distance. Look at him go, bouncing his way around the course. I dare say he probably hasn't had much practice at this, but he's just a natural. And Kamikaze and Brendan Hyperstar battling will mean that he just has a little bit of reprieve. And now on this course, it's kind of a mix, as Kid Cleo just clouts the wall on the inside there a little bit, with Love 46 having to take a very tight line as well. So Elton Driani involved in that one too. There's just so much room for mistakes and errors, but it's a wider line than on the oval, so you can get around people, and it means the defense is very difficult if you don't have the pace or indeed the confidence, as look how much you have to be careful about your lines over the jumps.
Absolutely. I want a camera down at the turn, just at the exit of the start-finish straight, where those cars are taking this jump now, and the sound effect of the wee going off, and that's Supreme, I think, into the wall.
Yeah, off, just ricocheted, sort of like bounced and off into the wall as well, and spinning around on the little mound of earth that you have on the side of the track. Reversing onto the track, not a good idea after the jumps, but yeah, just got two wheels on the dirt before, and it just bounced the car into spinning around, so it just proves how easy that can be. As Tom97 at the front continues to increase the gap at the moment, although it ebbs and flows quite a bit, as I think Love 46 had an overtake of somebody, I think that was El Taco Man. So yeah, a lot of moves going on, but a lot of people being a lot more cautious this time, as they know it's a long race. And oh, Tom97, can he recover it? Oh. What a recovery. Impressive stuff, it must be said.
May have been a recovery, but that's allowed Kamikaze to gain at least 2.5 seconds. Who's on their roof there?
That's an interesting one. They're just becoming a prop there on the inside. Is that Matt 212? It looks like it's Matt 212 there, as I've noticed his time keeps increasing, so that's an interesting one. Unfortunately for him, that is just a desperate time right there, and so interesting that it happened so late after the jump. I kind of want to see what happened with that one, as Tom's still fighting with the car on traction, and that is allowing Kamikaze to just close in. Kamikaze's been so consistent for the moment, but here he is in his element, really, after all of that experience on the gravel stuff. Tom97 running out of confidence, I think, and just clouting it against the wall a little bit. Brendan Hyperstar gets past as well, and it looks like Aerotech is hunting him down too.
Well, it may have lasted 5 minutes, but Tom97 did lead this race for a considerable amount of time. We see the cars just jumping over that first bump. You have to take that as straight as you possibly can, otherwise your car is going to send all sorts of directions when you do hit the deck. Once again, the fastest lap goes to Blueberry with a 53 second .538, which meaning we are expecting roughly about 22 laps here of this circuit. Aerotech finds himself in P4 now, onto the back of this quartet, and could be a quintet very quickly, as we do see a car just in the background. I believe that is the lapped car of Matt 212 just making their way around the circuit. And we are going to have a battle between Aerotech and Tom97, as Aerotech has found confidence once again.
Yeah, he's drifting the car around the corners like no tomorrow. This is supreme confidence. I think Tom is trying to do the same, but it's such a different style to adapt to. Tom is used to a high downforce car, as Oh no, he's lost it just on the jumps again. An incredible recovery, but look at the time he loses. He's going to be overtaken, but I think that is Sparks, or is that Blueberry a lap down? I'm not quite sure. It's Blueberry a lap down. Blueberry's lost it as well in sympathy, I think, and Tom's had to take avoiding action. So Blueberry on the charge, trying to get the fastest lap, if nothing else. But yeah, that is very, very unfortunate for Tom. As I was about to say, he's used to high downforce cars, and unfortunately, with this, it's a different driving style because you got to keep the throttle on, keep it sideways, keep the power planted, and just control that drift, which is a very unusual technique for, say, a track racing car that has a lot of downforce, so very difficult to adapt to, and he's doing a great job regardless of the mistakes.
Yeah, I think if we're going to pick one driver to maybe have a fantastic comeback here, I could be pinning that on Aerotech again. We heard when we were doing the dirt oval, as that's a mistake further back. I didn't quite catch who that was.
Matt 212.
Oh, Matt 212.
Looks like it. I think that was the livery of his car last race. Oh, Aerotech's off. He's spun around. He's done a 180. Now, can he rejoin? Tom 97 arriving. It's straight into the path of Tom 97. I can't believe it. The two have collided, and now they've got to go about turn again before other people arrive. That's going to bring Sparks in on the action, as well as El Zindriani and Supreme TV a little bit behind. So, yeah, crazy stuff happening. I think that was a little bit of panic, to be honest. And it looks like we have a caution thrown out.
Yep, safety car has been deployed in whatever form that takes, I believe, in the safety truck, making its way out of the pit lane once again. Kamikaze, our race leader, will have the race nullified, and Brendan Hyperstar sits still in P2 Aerotech after what can possibly be described as the worst attempt at a rejoin that I've seen in a very, very long time, just ahead of Tom at 97. I think that's what you call a commentator's curse. It was about 10 seconds after I was praising him on what could be considered a comeback, and it looks like we might just have the safety car coming out as they round this final corner at the top of the hill.
It reassures you, TK, you're currently or I'm currently 2-1 to your commentator's curse, so you're still doing okay. But yeah, it's very, very unfortunate. I think it was just a little bit hesitant on where to turn around because it's just after the jump, so there was a possibility that Tom would get a little bit unsettled and would take a different line. Aerotech tried to rejoin thinking about that, but paradoxically Tom had a perfect jump and yeah, just was straight out into the path. Was Aerotech on Tom 97.
And this is the pack catching up to that safety car. Kamikaze, Brendan Hyperstar, and I believe the lapped car of Blueberry just making their way through, and will hopefully try and unlap themselves. Kamikaze, though, by name or by nature, not slowing down too much on those jumps as they approach up towards the pace car. We head on towards what will be lap 10 of essentially roughly around 20 laps going to be completed here at the Wild West Motorsports Park. Of course, if you have just joined us, welcome in. This is the Legends Across the Licenses event that we're running here for the Creator Series. This is two of three special events that we're running in our iRacing calendar in the summer switch-up. The first was our endurance race in GT3s. I believe the other one is going to be the Indy 500 we're running slightly later in the month of September. But all of our drivers here at the moment doing a free track combo, a free car combo. Obviously, 4 races in one night will take a bit of toll on even the best drivers here, John.
There was a car colliding with a safety car just then. That's not ideal. I was trying to figure out who it was because I don't think the numbers are lining up. It might have been... no, it can't have been Love 46. But anyway, very unfortunate for them. It's very, very tricky races here as they've got to adapt to different conditions over these 4 races. And so far, we haven't had a clear sort of leader in terms of pace. It's been different people every single time. Aerotech had a brilliant first race, but has fallen foul to a few mistakes in the next 2 races here. Alex Gillen winning race 2 so far, so on the tarmac of Laguna Seca, and now we've got the race turned on its head with Kamikaze leading so far. So your guess is as good as mine. You'll have to stay tuned as to who's going to win this one.
Yeah, it's a real interesting one that I think we've got on the moment. As you see Punju bobbing and weaving, trying to make his way through the pack and towards the crest of the hill, but the pack is so spread out at the moment. It's not like we've seen in the oval racing right at the start. It is so diverse because drivers are really having to get used to how to drive not only these cars on dirt roads again, but also the jumps, the ebbs, the flows that this circuit really loves to throw at our drivers. And you can just see how diverse the field is and spread apart. I think most drivers are just catching up to the back of the safety car here, as that's going to be number 77, Alex Gillen, absolutely flying in towards these jumps, really wanting to catch up to the back. Oh, little rear end kick out, but does manage to hold it safely.
That answers the who collided with the safety car earlier. It was Alex Gillen. There you go. I recognise that livery. But the hypothetical question, do you think the drivers would prefer to be in the unsafety car right now or in their Legends cars? Which one has better suspension? I think it's the safety car.
I think it would be the well, it depends on how quick
another collision with the safety car. That was
who was
Blippery,
that? I don't quite know how they're missing this massive four-wheel drive pickup truck that is driving in front of the field, but alas, maybe the vision is so restrictive in these Legends cars. It looks like the safety car might be peeling in here. Yeah, it does indeed. Green flag once again, and over the jumps they go to the top of the hill, and it's Kamikaze that leads. Aerotech's had a fantastic restart, as he's already got the better of Brendan Hyperstar. Tom 97 as well still stands in P4, trying to make a challenge.
Yeah, this is going to be such a difficult restart. Everybody bunched up now. They had the chance to sort of string it out a little bit and get involved in their own personal battles, as Aerotech will want this desperately after that great first race performance. It's now time to battle with Kamikaze. He wanted this during the Rallycross section that we had a few weeks ago. They had a few spats on track, but this will be the big one. They both have good knowledge of this car. It will suit their traits, and Kamikaze will be very much under pressure with this one. As you can see, the roughness on board over these jumps. Zero suspension near enough to absorb these bumps, and Kamikaze has gone for a really big, and Aerotech's off. Aerotech's off in the background. Kamikaze nearly had a big spin. Tom 97 going for a roll, quite literally. That has shaken up the order, as I don't think anybody else has collected, but those two have fallen right to the back of the order.
Oh, Love 46 going for a tumble at the edge of the jumps across into the pit exit there. They were running in 4th or 5th for a couple of moments there. Unfortunately, had a bit of contact, ended up on their roof, and into the pit lane they got sent. It's the first time we've seen a car jump into the pit lane for a considerable amount of time. Kamikaze there, saving it incredibly well. Couldn't say the same for Aerotech, and then Tom 97, out of pure pity for car number 3, to round it up to 100, finds himself rolling around as well.
The second time this race that's happened to Tom 97 and Aerotech, except I think this time it was... Oh no, it was still Aerotech going off first and then Tom collecting him. So unfortunately we have things repeated. Just want to point out as well, got caught out by the race start because unusually on this track, the safety car line or the safety car pit entry is after the start line. So the safety car peeled into the pits. We were green flag racing on lap 1, and I don't think we noticed that one. That's an unusual one. But yeah, El Taco Man and Sparks battling as well for that P3. As Sparks all the way up the inside, can they get it stopped? Oh, just about. But that was very confident driving there, with Supreme trying to take advantage of it as well. Tom 97 doing good also with the pace. It looks like he's got the pace, but the consistency missing a little bit. But you can see how difficult it is to drive at the moment, as I think El Taco Man having a few problems as Sparks gets through, and maybe Supreme up the inside as well. They're side by side for a moment into the last turn. Can they get anything done? It's a very long turn as Blueberry sets another fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, so far so good. Flying for Blueberry, sits in P11 just behind Killer Cleo after what can only be described from earlier instance. The unlapping has happened and they've got themselves back on towards that lead. Lap deep by Supreme TV sends out Taco Man spinning, and that is going to be really unfortunate for Taco Man, who finds himself falling down the order. But it's another mistake just creeping into the top of the hill where drivers aren't quite picking the braking zones that they would have liked. We've got Sparks here with Tom 97 just ahead of Aerotech as well. So they make their way through. It's going to be an interesting one to see how Tom 97 can hold on. Our race leaders though here, Brendan Hyperstar and Kamikaze, making their way just down the hill in towards those series of jumps that you have to take perfectly with 5 minutes to go.
Oh, there's a car off there. I think that's Matt 212 going for a bit of a tumble. But people will be pushing the limit now. So look how close they are. These two front runners to just having a disastrous jump. They have to push limits. Brendan Hyperstar putting Kamikaze under huge amounts of pressure. I will admit, I didn't expect this one, but Brendan Hyperstar, definitely a star of the show. At the moment, Tom 97 up into podium positions again. Look where Aerotech is as well. He's catching up. This could be a fight literally to the last couple of minutes for P3, with 3 credible drivers battling over that, as we still have a battle for the lead. Kamikaze defending the inside line like a champion, but how long can he hold off?
That's going to be the question. I wonder if Brendan Hyperstar can maybe try and use some of these laps cars that are coming up to play fool's game. And it's a mistake by Brendan Hyperstar. Touches the wall, but manages to recover it to an extent that he's not going to completely destroy that car. And I think he got off by the barest of margins there, but this could be a lifeline for Kamikaze. We're watching the battle for third. Sparks, Tom 97 and Aerotech, all 3 of them fighting it out for the last of the podium places. The car's trying to settle as they slam back to terra firma, and Tom 97 looks to the outside of all 3 of them. Can he try and make that work? No, he's actually losing out the place to Aerotech as they run down the hill once again. Aerotech, that inside line, proving absolutely valuable here.
Yeah, unlike the oval, you can see there's a little bit less banking on these turns. That means the outside line isn't necessarily the best, although Tom lost out on the inside as well. So it just looks like Aerotech... Oh, well, I was about to say has the confidence. He spun around as I was saying that sentence. He's parked on the inside. He's stuck on the inside. He nearly reverses out into Supreme's racing line, and Love 46 around the outside. Was that? No, I think that was perhaps Alex Skinner. Not quite sure exactly who that was, but they might be a lap down there, or unless the timing board. And that is Supreme spun around though as well, so lots of mistakes happening here on the with 3 minutes remaining. So drivers have a lot of confidence, but the car isn't giving them the grip that they need. Matt 212 off. I think the 3rd time this race. Is very unfortunate, that jump. Whatever's happening, it's not agreeing with him in that specific part of the track, as Tom, I think, had a little bit of a tumble there as well.
Yeah, so far, Tom 97 on the back of Sparks, still fighting for the last of the podium places, and you can see where they're starting to struggle in terms of these cars even further back. I think that was Love 46 maybe having a bit of an issue trying to get the car turned in for the right hand. We've got a replay here, and this is going to be, I believe, Killer Cleo. No, it's going to be Brendan Hyperstar losing it. That's a very unusual mistake.
He was so close to flipping onto the roof as well. That could have been disastrous. Still in P2, but has lost a lot of time as off goes car 13. That's Punju, and he's got it stuck on the fencing. I can't believe it. He might have to tow to pit lane because of that.
That is an incredible crash that I don't think we've seen for, ever, at least for my time in the commentary box. The tyre getting hooked onto the safety barriers and the sponsor boards, and he did have to tow back to the pit lane after that. And that is well and truly Punju's race over, with only a minute and a half left to go of this race here at the dirt road, the Wild West Motorsports Park in Nevada, United States. The battle for the lead well and truly nullified after that mistake by Brendan Hyperstar, as the gap now stands at 6.5 seconds and increasing. And I wonder if something's happened maybe to Brendan Hyperstar, if that could just be as the cars work their way through. The battle for P3, though, still well and truly on the cards between Tom 97 and Sparks.
Yeah, when we said about hooking the inside line, I don't think Punju had the right idea. He had the spirit, that's for sure, but it didn't really work out for him. Yeah, Tom 97 body on their roof. Was that what's going on there? I'm not exactly sure what was going on. There is somebody on their roof just parked there. Who was that? Was that Matt 212 again? Or
that was Ancephalosis.
Incredible stuff. This race just keeps on giving in terms of entertainment, I'll be honest.
I mean, if we can have a look back at that instant, maybe now, or maybe as we get towards the end, this is what happened to Ancephalosis, and oh my goodness. Is he racing on a dirt track, or is he competing in the Olympic gymnastics? Because that was spectacular from Ancephalosis. We are going to see Killer Cleo as well, having a bit of a spin of her own accord. Just managed to get the car pointed the right direction. But back to the race, though. 24 seconds left on our race timer. It's Kamikaze that leads this race as he comes over and might make his way home, as words start to fail me on the 3rd race. 10 seconds to go. That will almost certainly be the end of this race here. We'll await the checkered flag. 5 seconds on the countdown. Kamikaze, with comfort and clean air behind him, will almost certainly come home to take victory. Alas, any mistakes. Let's not forget, we have Killer Cleo almost acting as a blocker for Kamikaze, but he can see his way home now. He'll make his way towards the checkered flag, runs up towards the final corner, turns through the left-hander, And it will just be all downhill from here to finish off. 6.5 seconds, make that 7 seconds clear. Kamikaze by name, Kamikaze by nature. He'll come up and cross the line first. It's a win for Kamikaze.
Somehow he didn't crash after doing that outrageous move over the jump. I don't know how he does it. But Brendan Hyperstar crosses the line P2, as it looks like, hopefully no shenanigans for Tom97 across the line. P3, a tremendous result. He's going to be happy with that one, surely. Sparks P4, Aerotech P5 after those mistakes, as I think Sparks has gone rolling off into the pit lane there. And Aerotech does the spin, as he likes to do, with, I think, hang on, who's this stuck
Supreme.
on? It's like Supreme stuck on the side. He has not completed the race as far as I can tell.
Yeah, this is what happened to car number 15.
Oh, no.
Oh, gets the car tyre hooked as well. Similar to what we saw from Punji slightly earlier on, but in an incredibly more low-speed scenario. And I think he's trying to free his car with some assistance from Killer Cleo. And they have got the car cleared. That is absolutely fantastic teamwork between the two of them. It reminds me of the midpoint of Cars 1. We've got the King just off into the grass and the gravel. Lightning McQueen stops and just pushes them and nudges them forwards to make sure they finish their last race.
Wow, that reference made me feel old right there, TK. But yeah, I love it. Incredible stuff. So let's have a confirmation of those results. Kamikaze P1, finally, he'll say, with Brendan Hyperstar yet again so close, but in P2. Tom97, great result, P3, with Sparks P4. Aerotech, a little bit disappointing, I think, from his side. He had the pace, but not the consistency, with Altakaman P6. Love 46 P7, Blueberry P8. Fastest lap of the race, but not the consistency there either. Elzandriani P9, Supreme TV P10. And
then we'll wait for the bottom 11 as well, just to tick over through 16. And we've got Alex Gillen in 11th place. Killer Cleo finishes in 12th after giving that nudge up to Supreme TV. It's Ancephalosis that finishes in 13th after one of the best spectacular flips that I've seen in these Legends cars in an absolutely long time. Punji finishes in 14th, one place down from what he claims is his lucky number. And 15th goes to Matt 212 after his excursion off into the side of the raceway. Well, folks, we've had 3 races here so far. We've covered dirt ovals, we've covered roads, and we've covered dirt roads. We leave one of regular ovals, and I believe we're going to get Tom 97 in for a chat to see how his race went, finishing, of course, up in P3. Tom, how did that race go? Podium for yourself here.
Lovely jubbly. Learning on the job. Learning on the job.
How difficult was that? Because you're going from, obviously, you're more used to circuit racing on tarmac, so going gravel and no traction control, nothing to help you out, and insane jumps with a car that, as far as we could tell, has no suspension.
That's more or less what it feels like. I was telling everyone in the race, I'm so used to clockwise circuits, so my left shoulder tends to be the one that works. So right now, I'm just feeling my right shoulder like crazy from all the anti-clockwise and just constant left turns. So yeah, although the first 2 races went terribly, but this car is a proper challenge. I'm just learning on the fly constantly, every single lap.
It's one that really likes to bite you when you make even the most minor of mistakes on it. I think both myself and Nick can say that as our time from the unsafety car drivers. I couldn't imagine trying to drive it in a competitive series, especially on dirt roads. But we spoke to Aerotech at the end of, I believe, race 1, and he was saying how the VC kind of came alive. The chat that you all were in kind of came alive after the races. I'm hoping that you're kind of undeafened in there. Was it a very similar attitude at that race as well?
It was. I've been undeafened the whole event. Like, I'm just laid back, having some fun. It was really awesome. The vibe was really awesome. That last one was meant to be like the death track, and it ended up being like the most fun, lively, active VC. And yeah, really awesome. Like, I don't know also how much you got with that battle I had with Sparks at the end there. It was like a battle for the podium, also a battle for P4 with a few others. But yeah, Aero in there as well. It was just crazy, constant action.
Wanted to ask as well, how panicked were you when you went over the jump twice in the race and saw Aerotech stopped right in front of you, spun around?
Yeah, luckily I didn't see him until it was too late, so there wasn't much time to really process it or react it. Second time though, I was a bit more gutted because I thought I was doing really well and I thought I'd get overtaken by a bunch of people. Luckily the pace car came out and we both got bailed out on that one, so yeah, it's pretty scary. when you're even just like letting lap traffic through, you're just cruising over the bumps, and if someone who's trying to unlap themselves loses control over the bump, you're not safe. It just, you have to constantly look out and watch out.
You absolutely do. And of course, we've got one more round to go, which me and John in the commentary box, I think, thought was the second round up until it wasn't and it became Laguna Seca. Obviously, we head now to Lania Raceway, which is a normal oval racing circuit. How are you feeling about your chances for this one?
Well, I actually quite enjoyed the gravel oval. Figured that one out. But this is going to be another new experience because we're putting that knowledge into tarmac again. So yeah, based off Laguna, I was actually quite surprised how the car drove. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm meant to drift this one or actually drive it normally. There's a lot to learn and I don't have very long, so I better figure it out.
I look forward to seeing you try all of that stuff.
Yeah, I look forward to trying to survive.
Amazing stuff. Best of luck, Tom, and I'm sure we'll see you after the race as well.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, I'll share some advice for you folks at home, and if anyone is watching the stream, and Tom did rightly say he wasn't sure if you want to drift these cars. No, you don't. Not on this sort of oval. You want to, in the words of Doc Hudson, I'm going to make another Cars reference. Yeah. I'm going to make another Cars reference. You've got to drive it in deep and hope it sticks. And that is the attitude that you've kind of got to have on these ovals, especially with the Legends cars here.
Does that count for using other people as the banking to try and get
Sure.
you to turn? Oh, okay, that sounds good.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we already had confirmation that the car could do a kickflip. This is just testing that they're doing at this point. So, iRacing staff, you've got new information about your Legends car.
Yeah, they're actually trying to rack up bonus points in terms of the max level that they can try and achieve. I've heard a kickflip is bonus points if it's then followed by a barrel roll, of course.
Yeah, you've got to get the combo going, That's how you get the points multiplier, which is very important for a race where no points are big. Anyway, moving on.
We have got just over a minute left in practice. All of our drivers, I would say, trying to achieve the 900, but I don't think that's very much possible in the cars that love to self-right themselves a little bit more than most, especially in the sim of iRacing. The Legends cars love trying to point whichever direction you don't want them to point in. But we have got those just getting... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I just well, there you go again. I just wanted to point out the tire traces on all of the corners. There's about 10 different lines where you just see a car spinning off and smoke on every single exit of the corner. Sorry to interrupt you there, TK.
No, all good. I was just going to say, we were just seeing how the drivers are kind of learning the circuit as they go. Sparks goes spinning around, manages to peel off to the inside of the raceway. Fastest lap by Blueberry, 15.2 seconds. We could expect that to get even quicker, probably in towards 14, as that's 24. That's how Cephalos is getting sent back to the pit lane.
Well, that's a new one. I've never seen that happen on a tarmac oval. That's one way to enter the pits. I think maybe not FIA approved, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Oh my days! Who's that stopped on the track? Was that Alex Gillen, or have we had a livery change again? Maybe it was Tom 97 actually.
I think that's going to go in one of those videos, the biggest motorsport jump scares that we've seen this week. If none of these videos end up in iRacing Idiots of the Week as well, I'll be slightly disappointed. As we have got all of our cars getting themselves gridded up to go racing. It'll be standard formation run and a rolling start here at Lancia National Speedway, or Caffeine and Octane's Lancia Lania Raceway for sponsorship reasons. I've got that slightly wrong. Based in Georgia in the United States, just across the road from Road Atlanta.
Iconic location, that's for sure. Again, very iconic in terms of the just entire motorsports industry that's around that. So, yeah, I definitely would say a fan favorite with the short course tracks, that's for sure. And we've got a high turnout today in the audience. That's good, both online and indeed on track. And I'd love to say also that the sort of sunset vibe that we've got going on is very nice to see as well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sunset that we've got here at Lania, and it's interesting that this track has a bit of a famed history. We've got the formation lap about to get underway, and the 20 minutes will start. They've hosted 17 NASCAR Southeast Series races between 1991 and 2004, It's hosted 2 NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour events, one in 2008 and one in 2009. And it also hosted weekly NASCAR Whelen All-American Series races back in its time under pressure. But it also is the only short oval bank paved track within 50 miles of the city of Atlanta. So it is a major hub for grassroots drifting and competition driving within the state of Georgia and across the southeastern United States.
I'm amazed by the information right there. That is just an incredible history of this track. And we're about to make history today as well by, I think, the amount of crashing that we're about to have. Because I'm seeing a lot of drivers right now that even on the formation lap are being a bit tentative right now. This might be an interesting race start, but I'll be waiting for the safety truck to roll into the pits. It's quite a late turn into the pits. Will we see it this lap? And there we go, off, and they are going green flag racing here as we get our last race underway then, as Top 97 leads the pack once again into turn 1, as we have a very brief wait to see any cars through that turn. Oh, Tom nearly going for a spin. That's Killer Cleo spinning around, as well as someone else, may have been Kamikaze, as we have just tire smoke to look at the moment, and Killer Cleo is going all the way back to the back of the pack, and that's Matt Wood 2-1-2 on the roof again.
I don't know if that was an intentional little love tap from Killer Clear there, or if it was just you sent me off the track, as that was another car we see on their roof. Safety truck has been deployed after 35 seconds of racing here. I think that has to be some sort of circuit record that we've had. The safety truck is back out. Fastest lap has been set under the safety car for 15.898. Tom 97 still leads from El Zindriani, Love 46, El Taco Man. But I think understandably, when we've had a first lap crash like that and a car on their roof, understandably, race control have called the race to a slow.
I think it was Brendan Hyperstar that went around, not Kamikaze. They have the same sort of white liveried car. So, yeah, unfortunate for Brendan Hyperstar. But, look, there's so many instances where you can make your way. Collision behind the safety car there. That's Alex Giddon, I think, that's gone round. Or Zupreme. No, it must have been Zupreme going round. But that is very unfortunate. As I think just a little bit of braking action. And they have not calculated that one correctly, that's for sure.
So I think a few drivers just getting accustomed to the new brake zones, let's put it that way. Now we're back on asphalt racing. The tyres somewhat more slick compared to what they're used to, as that's Map 212 just unlapping themselves. Of course, it is an incredibly short lap time here of only about 15 or 16 seconds so far. I expect that to get slightly quicker as we get ready to go racing and the fuel level wears down. 59 laps is the approximate race distance, just because of how short the circuit is, sitting at only, I believe, 0.375 miles. That's 0.604 kilometers for those that use that measurement version. And it's 4 turns, as we alluded to earlier. It started as a dirt track, now paved in the mid-1980s, and now hosts some fantastic racing for you to go watch if you live in the southeastern United States.
Green flag racing once again as Tom 97 gets us underway. El Zindriani trying to defend P2. That's El Tacoman on the outside, and very much to the outside is Sparks there, as a few collisions in the background. I think Love 46 getting involved in that one, and down goes Blueberry down the order, and Brendan Hyperstar once again has got involved in collision, as that's half of the field in the background. I think I saw sideways right there. That was a crazy crash. Killer Cleo, I think Supreme getting caught up, Kamikaze and Aerotech and Punju in that one as well. So a lot of fast drivers falling in that one, sadly, as El Tacoman has overtaken Tom 97 and all of that for the race lead.
Yeah, we had another car on their roof. I think that was Brendan Hyperstar that got caught out this time, and just how susceptible these cars are to rolling around. We've got a replay to be able to show you. That's Alice Gillen with the sideways punt in towards Supreme TV. That's Kamikaze, Brendan Hyperstar, Aerotech. And I think that's Love 46 as well, getting caught up in that carnage and chaos, but no disputing who might have caused that earlier contact. It's the red and yellow car of number 77, Alex Gillen.
went bowling a little bit, and he's gone bowling again, collecting Tom 97. They've got tagged between, and they got the bodywork latched onto each other. That's cost them multiple positions. Alex Gillen all the way down to P7, but Tom 97 P9. He's managed to rejoin. No, still stationary a little bit ahead, hoping to rejoin. Hopefully not a lap down, but yeah, unfortunate timing. This is a car you have to have a lot of confidence in. You have to keep the throttle through the corner. A little bit of braking on the entry, like trail braking, but to make sure it doesn't understeer, you have to keep a lot of throttle. And the problem with that is if you're committed to the corner and you have more speed than the car in front, it's going to cause disaster if you don't back out of it. And you have to have that knowledge of the track, which certain drivers won't have. And we've got a crash. This was the crash, then replay. Alex Ginn just getting stuck after tagging Tom 97 and then spitting Tom 97 out onto the apron on the inside, and he had to get all of his momentum back. As now I think this is Punju just getting overtaken. Oh, that's Killer Cleo stationary on track. That's because it caused chaos in the midfield, and that sparks all the way around as well. And oh, and he's coming out in front of some of the front runners as well, and we have a caution thrown as a lot of drivers had to take avoiding action there, sadly. There's no way to rejoin safely on this track as far as I can see.
No, what is a safe rejoin here at the Lania Speedway? I don't think it exists. There's not enough room to be able to get your car off to safety, especially when you may collect another car at incredibly high speeds like we just saw. And it was Sparks that unfortunately falls down the order as a result. Again, incredible bobbing and weaving by a considerable number of our drivers, just avoiding the cars that suddenly become stationary in front of you. And it's a real technique and a real art to master for those that manage to do it effectively. There's El Taco Man now that leads from El Zindriani. Ancephalosis sits in P3 as we do watch, I believe that's Killer Cleo, going to get themselves unlapped in the very easy to spot yellow and red liveried car. And this will be Brendan Hyperstar making his way through, as he is 3 laps down at the moment, but could try and make some of those back. I wonder how much he'll be able to do whilst the safety car is still deployed.
Good news for Brendan Hyperstar is he won't have cold tyres at the restart, at least. Unfortunately, it does mean that he needs to catch positions up. I think that's Punju going around as well, trying to catch up. No, that isn't Punju.
It was Punju, but I don't think he realises he's not lapped.
Well, that's an interesting one. He's taken the race lead. I'm sure perfectly legal. FIA approved. No worries about that. Creator Series approved as well. We like to see those kind of shenanigans. But
no
he
one's
has
told
taken...
him.
Nobody's told him, and he's about to put a lap on everybody else. This might be an interesting one in the steward's office.
Yeah, you can see the time still increasing to El Taco Man. It does now drop again. I think someone has told Punju. We have been told that the FIA have let him know in the background that Punju was just essentially taking the race lead of everybody by speeding off. And it is sometimes easy to do. We don't have our usual race control sat in the behind the scenes for this race. So some drivers do quite often ask for clarification whether they're lapped or not. And Punju just dropped back through the order. There we go. That is good sportsmanship from Punju, realising that he made a mistake and then has managed to pull back into roughly whereabouts he was as the rest of the field start to sort themselves out as well.
Got to admire that as we have green flag racing once again. Punju and immediately collision and Cephalosis and Alex Gillen going for a little bit of side-by-side contact, but they managed to sort it out as Aerotech making up a few positions to P7 as well. Kamikaze making up to a position to P5, so he's come out of nowhere to regain and overtake, and Cephalosis has been forced to the outside right now as El Tacoman still leads this race. Alexandrani holding on for dear life in second place. As look at Alex Gidden, really racy, but he's been a little bit argy-bargy for the moment. Matt 212 having a good race as well. He was on his roof earlier, so that just shows how the racing can take a turn. As we got 3 wide now between, I think that's Alexandrani, Matt 212 and Kamikaze. As it looks like Kamikaze gets the better of Alex Gillen in there, but Alex Gillen will go for the dive right there. You saw on the inside and gets Kamikaze back, so the fighting continues.
Does indeed. Alex Gillen has got a new fire in his heart to want to try and dispatch Matt 212. I think there's a little bit of carnage to spin further back. Lots of cars involved with that. One of those will be Aerotech car number 3. I think Sparks and maybe Brennan Hyperstar caught up as well as Punju dropped through the order. You can see Aerotech really trying to come back on himself. Replay of what exactly happened here. It's a three-way battle. Ancephalosis, Punju, and Aerotech, they're getting caught up, and that's Sparks, I believe, down at the bottom, just colliding with Punju's spinning car. Nothing he could have done there to avoid that. As Punju, I believe, has taken another spin and remains stationary.
Oh,
That's club 46.
Yeah, just a collision there, just trying to get back up to speed, and Aerotech just sideswiped, I think, is the perspective from our camera view in any case. And that was Alex Gillen, and I think that was Matt 212 having a little bit of contact, and Kamikaze has spun around Alex Gillen there in vengeance for other drivers right there. Alex won't be happy about that one. But the argy-bargy was always going to result in that at some point, and luckily he's got going again as the gap at the front extends a little bit. So hopefully everybody's sorting themselves out as Tom Line 7 moves up to P10 now. So I think Punju's had a little bit of a spin. Killer Cleo off as well, hopefully rejoins safely, but we'll have to get back up to speed. Carnage still happening.
Yeah, this is the sort of moment in the race. Obviously, it's only 15 seconds long. The best lap time at the moment in the low 15 seconds. That's not 1 minute 15, that's 15 seconds by itself. And when you start to drop off the pack, even if that's a second a lap, it's only going to be about 7 or 8 seconds until the drivers really start to catch you up. If you make more than one mistake, we're saying car number 9, that's going to be, I believe, that's Punju getting the better of Killer Cleo as everybody just tries to shuffle through the order, as Matt 212 also getting involved. And they try and dispatch it. It's LG Andriani, my apologies, in car number 9, all the way up at the top as Matt 212 trying to hold on for dear life. And that's the lapped car of Punju, who's getting involved in this battle when he probably shouldn't be.
Yeah, but look at Punju teaching Matt 212 something. This is the first time that we've seen this line overtaking El Zindriani, at least, well, not on track position, but oh no, that was for track position. No, I take that back. Punju's showing him that the outside line can actually keep the momentum. So we've seen a lot of drivers take the racing line, that like you can see there, down to the inside. But look at the amount of momentum that Punju has. Sometimes you don't take the racing line just to conserve all of that momentum, conserve the gear, power around the outside, and look at the demonstration that Punju is giving right now. He might be a lap down, but he's definitely got the spear. Alex Gillen gets past Ancephalosis as well on his charge back, and for Blueberry, it's a case of trying to catch, and that is Ancephalosis sideways as well. Something's gone on right there. He's managed to get to the inside and not take out anybody else. A good recovery right there, but these collisions are happening left, right, and centre. Around goes, I can't see who that is. Is that Kamikaze round?
I think it might be. It was one of the white liveried cars. Yes, Kamikaze there. Car number 16 gets himself righted. I think we're going to need an air filter at this Motorsport Parkway as it stands, because the amount of tyre smoke that's being kicked up through the course of only this 20-minute race is somewhat astronomical. Car number 41, that's be Blueberry, trying to hold off Supreme TV, or should I say attack against Supreme TV, as they make their way in towards every corner, doing similar to what we saw with Punju and Sparks last time, Matt 212 last time out, and just trying to figure out the quickest way. Blueberry to the inside as we cut away to Matt 212, trying to hold on Punju, and Blueberry gets the place done whilst they're off camera. Fantastic stuff from Blueberry.
I was convinced that was a crash then. Blueberry just sent it, and I was convinced that was going to end in tears, but it was a magnificent send. Let's see if we can get a replay. So just going to the outside, forcing El Zindriani just to defend, or that was Supreme actually, I think, and just tapping a little bit, but got the apex speed, and that was a very good overtake right there as Blueberry does indeed try and chase down El Zindriani right now. But yeah, in terms of the track, if the spectators said they loved the smell of burning rubber, I think this is somewhat what they had in mind, but maybe not quite, as the cars still go for spins from time to time. Now everybody's sorting themselves out now and having, I would like to say, somewhat clean battles as Blueberry gets past El Zindriani for P3, as we have a battle between Sparks and Ancephalosis as well, so everything heating up. And look at Killer Cleo around the outside, conserving all of that momentum. El Tacoman under pressure from Matt 212 on the inside.
Yeah, I think that's Killer Cleo actually trying to stay out the way of the lead fight. You can see Matt 212 really putting pressure on El Taco Man. Car number 13, that's Punju, really trying to push Matt 212 forward. That's a spin further round. I think that might be Ancephalosis, who's had a bit of a spin. As Supreme TV and El Zindriani having a good scrap in amongst themselves in the background of your shot. But the main race lead still to be disputed. We've got a safety car coming out, though, with 6.5 to go in this race. This could spice things up, and someone can tell Punju he now can unlap himself.
This is to clear the tire smoke that's lingering around the track, of course. That's the official reason for the unsafety car, as we say. As look at the people clearing laps down. I think that's Killer Cleo and is that Brendan Hyperstar? Yes, he had a lap to clear from earlier. So we've got quite a few cars going around. Love 46 sadly out of the race, it looks like. Ancephalosis clearing a lap as well, as far as I can see. Or is that another car? Interesting. Not quite sure on that one.
No, not quite sure which way it's going. Tom 97 gets past Kamikaze under the safety car period, so moves himself up to 7th place. And Brendan Hyperstar, the only other driver that's made their way into the pits in this race. They went in about 9 or 10 laps in to the racing. They've done 36 laps on a set of tyres so far, compared to everybody else's 46. So they may have a bit of advantage as we come towards the later stages, especially now that they've cleared their laps down. They may have the fresher tyre advantage.
We need a Lightning McQueen charge through the pack, like in the movie. We're continuing the Cars references at this point, TK. And yeah, I'd love to see that. That would be so cinematic experience right there. But for El Tacoman, he'll want to complete this race distance as it has panned out now for at least the last 10 minutes. He's just been supreme at the top, but Matt 212 has put in a great performance so far. Brendan Hyperstar, I think, has done 1 lap too many, so the exact same thing has happened once again, as they've got very enthusiastic.
Someone needs to remind him that he is A, not Punju, and B, now leading the race round here at Lania Raceway. So I think Brendan Hyperstar will have to drop back to where he was just mere moments ago. If not, he's just completed one of the best overtakes that I think I've seen in a very long time, as everybody else gets themselves sorted out in a motor field. And there we go, does slow down at the first time of asking, and we'll peel back. But you can see just how far ahead of the safety car he is. He's going to have to wait there. He's literally halfway round the circuit, which is about 7 or 8 seconds up the road. So he'll have to kind of park for at least 30 seconds or so until he gets back in his correct order of the safety car restart. Just under 4.5 to go here in Georgia, United States, for the final race of our Legends Across the Licenses event here in the Creator Series iRacing Summer Shake-Up for the first season of iRacing that we've been doing. And I mean, if you've enjoyed it so far, why not leave a follow on all of the social media accounts? Drop us a like, drop us a subscribe if you're feeling generous as well. And don't forget to check us out on all the social medias. But for the time being, we're about to go green flag racing as El Taco Man takes us to the line. 3.5 to go in this race. El Taco Man leads, but 2-on-2 in second, with Blueberry challenging in third to the inside as they make their way through the laps, as they count them down inside their heads. Blueberry still trying to put a button on spin further back, but well recovered. And I believe that would have been Sparks just trying to hold on.
I think that was Sparks and Punju having a bit of a crash. Somebody off Tom 97 has spun round there. I think he got tagged by somebody, maybe by Alex Gillen, looks like, in that vicinity there. But yeah, collisions happening as El Tacoman seeks to defend still from Blueberry. It's getting very, very tense on the front. Blueberry does have the ultimate pace by that fastest lap. But here comes Alex Gillen up the inside as well. Can he get any traction? No, just not enough to get past Supreme. And a huge tank slapper from Alex Gillen. Lost momentum, and he's dropping like down the order, dropping like flies.
Yeah, not the best race at the moment that he'd like to try and hold on to. Els Indriani, though, sat in P6, looking on the back of Alex Gillen by the barest of margins. You can see Gillen not having the best of race. Punju gets the better of Brendan Hyperstar. Massive crash further back as you see smoke getting thrown up. Els Indriani getting caught up. I think Killer Cleo as well.
Oh, and tagged at the front as well. El Taco Man's been tagged and is going spinning around, and that is all the way down to P10, trying to rejoin, having to get the car spun around. Such a difficult situation. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. So Blueberry to the inside. El Taco Man gets a bit of oversteer and just turns into the path of Blueberry. Not much Blueberry could have done, but not much El Taco Man could have done either. Such an unfortunate event. Matt 2-on-2 now promoted to P2, trying to defend from Supreme. Alex Gillen looking very feisty there in P4, looking to take that podium position away from either of them as they battle. Blueberry just taking the car lengths now, just trying to get that little bit of a buffer zone as we've got Killer Cleo on the outside once again.
Yeah, back marker of Killer Cleo again, just staying out the way, not wanting to get involved. And it's a great bout of sportsmanship from Killer Cleo. It's not the first time we've seen it in this race. Alex Gillen almost goes steaming in to the back marker, but we've got the front four, Blueberry, Matt 212, Supreme TV and Alex Gillen. We've got Brendan Hyperstar, who's made up 5 positions already in about half the time that he needs. He could still be on for a 10th to first here in this race after being on the freshest tyres. The question will be in terms of longevity of those 9-lap fresher tyres, but Blueberry at the moment half a second clear with just over a minute to go.
His team radio will be pick a line and stick with it. Will Brendan Hyperstars, and he'll go for it and see what he can do. But for the moment, Matt 212 making a valiant defence, can't get close enough to Blueberry to challenge for the lead, but Supreme can't find a way past Matt 212 either. Supreme taking a little bit of a deeper line into the corners to try and get that apex speed, but Matt's just planting it on the apex, a little bit wide there though as the gap increases for the lead, and Alex Gillen is dropping off a little bit here. I think he had a little bit of a scary oversteer moment, but the gap in the background with Brendan Hyperstar and Kamikaze fighting out is no less intense as we have Matt 212 and Supreme, I think, side by side as well, battling. They are definitely side by side now. You can see them just peek into the camera there as Matt 212 defends, but Brendan Hyperstar and Kamikaze, I think, was up the inside there. So we've got more challenges, and this is heating up now with 25 seconds on the clock.
25 seconds indeed, down to 20. That's at least 2 laps of this circuit for it all to be decided here. Blueberry looks like they could be running away with it. It's over a second back to Matt 212, who would have been hoping that things would have gone his way slightly more. We come round the what will be the penultimate corner here. Will they cross the line before that timer runs out? That'll be the question. I don't think they will. It's going to be the final lap. We've got 1 to go. Blueberry has to survive 1 more lap. They didn't quite cross it in time. So Matt 212 has got a final battle ready. Supreme TV, though, to the inside, trying to steal second place. Can they do it? I don't think so, as the outside line seems favourable. It's the checkered flag that flies. 4 races, 4 winners as Blueberry wins here at Lania.
Just absolute cinema, I'll say it once again. They all had their battles, they all had their little moments, but that was peak entertainment from all of our racers there. I'm sure they had an absolute blast. I'm sure some of them are losing their voices in their own Discord chat right there. Incredible stuff. And for Blueberry, finally a win on the board, it must be said. Matt 212 having a great result after such a disappointment last race, and indeed the previous races. Just everybody had their bit to play in all of these 4 events.
They certainly did. Each sort of format favoured a driver more than the next, and this is your complete rundown after 66 laps here at Caffeine and Octane's Lania Raceway. It's Blueberry that wins from Matt 212 from Supreme TV as your top 3 here this afternoon. Alex Gillen finishes in 4th with Kamikaze in 5th. Aerotech finishes 6th with Brendan Hyperstar, unfortunately falling a couple of places to finish 7th. Punji finishes in 8th with Sparks in 9th and Tom97 finishing in 10th place. It's then 11th place for Els Indriani when we head on towards the second screen. It's 12th place for El Taco Man after he led so much of this race, couldn't quite convert it at this time of asking. Ancephalosis finishes 13th with Killer Cleo in 14th, and then Love 46 and Chesnoid Gaming bowing out after 27 laps and 40 laps respectively for our drivers at the bottom. But what an event we've just had. 4 different licenses, 2 different cars, and a whole heck of carnage. I hope you at home have enjoyed that quite as much as I'm sure me and John have up here in the commentary box. And if you could hear our producer in the background, probably as much as our producer enjoyed it as well, with the chuckles that he was sending through our earpieces.
Yeah, I can guarantee you he's had his microphone muted for about 5 minutes now with all the laughing he's done. I mean, it's been so wall-to-wall racing action that my voice is on its limit as well. It's just so entertaining. I must think the drivers have had a hell of a time, and indeed our audience as well, because that was just amazing, just from the green flag to the checkered flag.
It was certainly one of those, well, I was going to say one of those races, but 4 of those races that really give you a good time, really remind you about the community spirit and just it's not here for points, it's here for funsies, as Punju love to say. It is that community spirit where you can sit in VC, as all of our drivers have attested to. They can have a laugh, have a giggle, as quite possibly things go wrong in the most dramatic fashion, as we saw with those accidental wave arounds for Punju and Brendan Hyperstar there at the Oval.
Yeah, we've had accidental wave rounds, we've had kick flips, we've had 180s into other cars, we've had smoke screens, we've had a lot of those as well. Yeah, this has been pretty entertaining and a pretty complete demonstration of what can happen sometimes in racing and sometimes what shouldn't happen in racing, but we're all here for it in the Creator Series.
Certainly are indeed. Well, speaking of Punju and his accidental wave around that he's had there at the Oval, we're going to bring him in for an interview and a chat. Let's see what he has to say to us. Mr. Punju, welcome in after what was quite possibly one of the most fun events that I've ever commentated on. Talk us through how it was from your point of view.
Oh, hello. Thank you, guys. That was the race of all time. That was amazing, dude. I'm like, I knew it was going to be silly. I knew it was going to be wacky. I knew it was going to be crazy, but I didn't know it was going to be that good and silly and wacky and crazy. Thankfully, there are safety cars, and those are a real thing because those were very needed. And honestly, yeah, I'm just glad that everybody was having a bunch of fun. I don't think I've ever heard that much laughter in a voice chat. So, yeah, it was great.
At what point did the laughter turn to screaming and panicking in that last race? Because that was just absolutely... As soon as one driver gets spun round, 10 of them just go.
See, it's funny, like, Arrows said right before the race, he's like, I have a feeling this last race is actually going to be the most chaotic of them all. I'm like, no, what are you talking about? It must have been Wild West. No way we could top that. Somehow we did. Honestly, it, like, somehow didn't actually turn into screaming. It was just hilariousness, and, yeah, I could tell everybody was having lots of fun, and yeah, that was really, really good.
I want to talk about that incident that you had at the dirt road track where I think in the nicest possible way you managed to tie a hook onto a sponsorship board. I want to know what that looked like from inside the car, first of all, and how panicked were you?
Well, I had already towed once that race, and I was like, this race is a little bit unfortunate, but let's just keep on driving it. I come over that jump, I don't know why, just the suspension said not today, and just yeeted me to the right through the pit lane, and I really did not think I was going to end up over that wall either. I was a little worried. I was like, I might go over it and get towed. But nope, just get hooked, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to hang out here for a minute, because no way anyone's going to bump me out of this, and that's where we were.
Became part of the dynamic sponsorship of the track. Very innovative.
That
I will give you that.
That I did. Look at me go. Giving good placements. Look at me. Yeah.
I mean, talk us through, obviously we've had 4 races today and you've said just how much the VC were alive in terms of laughing and quite possibly crying as well at many points. If you had to pick one race out of the 4, what would your favourite have been?
Ooh, that's a tough one actually. Favorite out of the 4 could be the final one. Actually was really, really, really good. Or Wild West. I mean, Wild West, that was a car track combo that deserves to never have been done, yet we decided to do it anyway, so I like that, for sure.
Well, I think, Punju, we'll let you head off and enjoy what is the rest of your afternoon, probably over there in the US, and as always, pleasure to speak to you and great to have you on, and thank you for this carnage and chaos that you came up with. And we've let him drop off there.
I'm out of here.
Well, we're going to go from one interview straight to our winner of race 4. We've got Blueberry in for an interview, and I can only say, what a race to win at the final time of asking. How are you doing, Blueberry?
They're muted, sadly. Let's see if they can unmute. I think they're interacting still with...
Hello?
There we go.
Hello.
Sorry. I feel fantastic. That was an amazing race. I mean, it was a little bit frustrating, halfway through, but it is what it is. I ended up taking home the win at the end. I knew that, once I got up into the third and then the yellow flag came out, that, I was watching myself that the timing go down, and I was like... And it was just yeah, I feel like I can get this. If I wasn't going to get Wild West, I was going to get this one. I was a second faster there, and then I was about 3/10 faster here. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited to finally get a win in here.
how difficult was it to maintain your composure? Because, you know, last opportunity, last chance to grasp the victory, and you had to go for it.
Yeah, when the yellow flag came out, I was pretty nervous that because like the second run, that was the longer run. I was like, okay, I'm in a flow state. I think I can get this. And then, you know, the yellow flag came out. I'm like, I'm gonna lose my composure. But no, it held together. I had one little mistake at the end, but it wasn't like death. It wasn't, you know, complete death.
Talk us through what it must have been like, because we've spoken to a number of drivers this evening about how the races were, but what I really want to know, especially from a driver's point of view, going from that mix of asphalt to dirt back to asphalt again, was that really putting a bit of a challenge for you as drivers to have to adapt to different road surfaces?
To me, honestly, not really, because I mean, I did a lot of practice, and Dirt Legends, Wild West is kind of something that I'm very familiar with. The only thing I really didn't have too much practice with was Laguna Seca, and I really don't like the Legends car on road. It kind of drives backwards to what I'm used to.
Well, certainly displayed the pace for that, that's for sure. You had the pace, I think, on all circuits, to be honest. I see that fastest lap cropping up multiple times a race with your name on it. So was the charge back through the pack sometimes really entertaining, or were you happy to finally be at the front of the field at the end of that last race?
I think once I got to the front, it was a lot less stressful. You know, the girls back at Dog Bunks gave me a fantastic car to run. And I'm sure Diesel's absolutely screaming her head off in the Discord right now, celebrating.
Amazing stuff. Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you, Blueberry, and congratulations once again on a race win right at the end there. I'm sure that won't be the last time we see you take the top step.
We'll see. I'll see it again.
Amazing stuff. Fantastic stuff, Blueberry. Thanks for coming to chat to us. Wow, what a pleasure to speak to our race winner there in race 4. And I think slightly optimistic as to some future endeavours in terms of racing. The crew back behind supporting her must be, overjoyed. That's the word I was looking for as the result there in the final time of asking. Yeah,
last gasp for victory, and I think a lot of them wanted it. Matt 212 so close as well, but I think there was a little bit for everybody in there, and you just had to be a little bit lucky as well to get yourself in the right place at the right time for your expertise of driving. Certain drivers managed it, other drivers got a little bit unlucky, and that's the beauty of racing. You can never determine exactly what's going to happen, especially not this week.
No, I think this week probably takes the cake on unpredictability in the grand scheme of races that we run here in the Crate Series on multiple disciplines over the course of various seasons as well. But I think drivers can now calm down and go back to some more regularly scheduled entertainment and racing as we go back to more traditional forms of output. Let's probably put it that way for some rest of the season. We head, of course, next week to LMP2 cars at Road Atlanta, literally a hop, skip and a jump just across from where we were mere moments ago. So drivers will not have to go far in their camper vans if they wish to go racing that next time out, but probably in slightly more powerful cars. But John, it's been a pleasure to have you alongside as well, as always. Where can the lovely people at home check you out if they haven't done so already?
Well, my username is amusing, and you can usually find me wrapped around a tree in various cars. Anyway, my commentary is at this point better than my driving. Oh dear me. But moving on from that very swiftly, TK, where can they find you?
You can check me out on social media at They Call Me TK on pretty much every single social media. If you want to check out the Creator Series social medias, they're just above our heads: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or Twitch. That's all at Creator Series. GG, or just Creator Series on Twitch for ourselves. If you're watching and not following, why not give us a follow as well? That'd be much appreciated. And then, of course, you will never miss another race that we do here on the channel. And go check out our producer as well in the background, Gareth Allen TV, on every single social media. It's always fantastic to have him in the behind-the-scenes role. But until we see you next time out for LMP2 Cars at Road Atlanta, thank you so much for watching. Have a good night and God bless.